That makes sense. Some of my coworkers kind of look like the killer clowns.
Yeah.
All right. Conspiracy Theory, starring Donald Von Griffin, Karen Torres, Lloyd Montgomery, me, GM, Brandon Blackmore. This week's Conspiracy Theory is brought to you by Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Because they don't have the Yingling Oktoberfest in yet. So, there we go. Are we recording? We are recording. Yay! All right. Refresh what happened last week. Everybody went to the symposium on weird science and fringe medicine at the estate of Dr. Chris Severinsen. You foiled a plot by lizard people to replace normal people with lizard people, pretending to be normal people, who in fact were not normal people, but who had some kind of power akin to what Kieran has. So, there you go. And then
Well,
after you
technically,
blew
we
up their lab,
foiled their plot to replace Charlotte and Mark Morgan with, or John Morgan with lizard people. We didn't entirely foil their plot to replace people.
okay, you interrupted their plot.
I'd make a terrible lizard person.
That's what I was saying. That's
If
why
it-
I hit them with the candlestick.
If it makes you feel any better, they weren't planning to turn John Morgan into a lizard person because they didn't have a spare. They were only set up for 9. What they were going to do was erase his memory and then send him home with Charlotte and Mark Savage if they could have found him, but they couldn't find him, so they were adapting as events transpired. But you interrupted that, and you destroyed their lab, and you killed the lizard people you found, and so there are 3 lizard people at large, but you know where they are, where they live, where they work, assuming that they don't immediately go home and move, and
Right.
you track
And who they believe they are.
And then you tracked Dr. Severinsen back to London and discovered she was an actress named Joan Clark. So, that's what happened last week. So now you're in London. Sunny London. Palm trees, beaches. And you also have 2 plasma rifles that you you took from the lizard men after they were dead.
Yeah.
It's not stealing if they're dead.
I want to get a bit more practice in with these with the labyrinth of doorways, because to me that's just a moneymaker.
You're going to give tours?
What's there to practice?
I was gonna say it's not a matter of making money on it. It's just happens to be the coolest thing we've encountered so far.
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay, Lloyd. Think like a criminal. You can move from one jurisdiction to another without passing through the border.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Lots and lots of money.
I don't need lots and lots of money. I can get lots and lots of money anyway. So.
Without
Well, true.
that sort of
Speaking of
Okay,
which,
Lots
Speaking
and
of
lots
which-
of power.
it's been a week since the last deposit into John Morgan's account. And
Oh.
as you're leaving Joan Clark's apartment building, the actress, as you're leaving and getting in the car, and which is this is a rental, wasn't it? Or did you take? No, it has to be a rental, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because we got here via Agartha.
You get back in your whatever they drive in England, some English car, and you're driving back, I guess, to your apartment, your hotel, where you guys are staying, or somewhere else. All your bags are in the car, so it's not like you left anything. You could have checked out of the hotel. What did you do?
Probably.
You tell me. Where are you going? What are you doing?
Oh yeah, if we were going to the symposium, then yeah, chances are we checked out of the hotel.
Okay, so you're in the car. You got all your stuff, and there's a
Let's check a little better.
notification from Mark Morgan's phone,
Oh, okay.
and you look at the phone, and let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 5. And you have a deposit for $701,822.
That's in addition to the 755,000 that I made last week.
That is correct.
Excellent.
So, do you guys need any money or anything? I assume
Yeah.
you need flush.
I was going to ask you if you, since you set him up, if you wouldn't mind setting me up, so I wouldn't have to worry about, I can quit my job in New York without worrying about it.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Let me move some money around first. Again, the account that it came into, move it out of there and move it into other less traceable accounts.
Okay.
Electronically launder it all around. Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
Imagine you
Ooh, and get some cash, too.
you set up some number of accounts throughout the world, and then you've got some kind of macro you just kick off, and it randomly withdraws amounts of money from anywhere from like 10,000 to 20,000 and just routes them through 24 different accounts over the course of like a day, and then it ends up somewhere. And the path is different every single time.
Probably between 100 and 9,000, because if you move more than 10,000, it's going to set off bells.
Sounds good. It takes a while to move $700,000 that way, but sure.
I'm patient. Okay.
You just do the macro, and it basically just loops through. It's a loop of a loop as it goes through denominations of money, and then reroutes them like a random number of times, somewhere over a dozen, and then it ends up somewhere, or any several of somewheres. You probably wouldn't want to put all your eggs in one basket, so there's probably half a dozen target accounts that they eventually end up in.
Yes.
And then, so you kick it off, and it takes like a good 45 minutes to run because it's a lot of transfers.
Yep. But yeah, we're talking like, Swiss bank accounts and accounts in the Caymans and accounts in South America and, accounts in the United States and just, all over the place.
There you go.
And while I'm there, I'll go ahead and set up accounts for my compatriots here and start them off with a seed of like, 50,000 in savings and 50,000 in checking.
Excellent.
There you go.
Very great.
Cool.
Your cards will arrive in the mail within 1 week.
I was just thinking hooking each of us up with one of those 6. That way we get all the regular updates.
Oh, I change them every time. So.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Because sooner or later they're going to catch on.
Yeah, exactly. Keep in mind, I'm stealing money from thieves. You know how that goes. And so I've got to be as paranoid as possible and as careful as possible. Because at some point, somebody's going to realize that I'm charging, the entire tri-state area 92 cents to basically fund our world travels.
Excellent. Well.
Right. So what I'm hearing is quit while you're ahead.
Oh, no, you have to understand. They have to catch me. That's the point of the entire episode.
That's what makes it fun.
Exactly. If they don't know what happened, then what's the point of doing it?
So there you are. You're in a car having this conversation while, let's say, Charlotte is driving around London. And it occurs to you, Charlotte, at some point, where are you going?
Yeah. So, are we booking a hotel room or what?
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and find something expensive.
Okay, sounds good.
Something like keeping a low profile.
Okay, now my question is, do we fly back to the States and have the record of us returning? Or do we use the doorways and possibly throw a flag?
Unless somebody's tracking our movements, they're not gonna. I sincerely doubt that we're gonna set off a flag if we show up in the United States.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not planning on going back with you guys on this trip. I'm gonna my plan was to head over to Templars and see what and go ahead and check them out, because you guys were planning to go check another group out. At least last time we chatted about that before we got sidetracked.
Yeah, we were gonna look at John's employers.
Yeah. you guys were, and I was going to stay behind.
Who happen to be the ones that he's currently siphoning off of.
Yep.
Well, it's
So
a
we
different.
ought to keep in mind.
All the
Actually, no,
Marines
it's
have
not.
somebody-
It's not even a different company. It's actually the same company. It's the media group. It's QPB Media.
Yep. Yeah. It's their cable subsidiary.
That's pretty fun.
So we ought to keep this in mind if we end up operating from them. Perhaps we ought to move that along a little bit somewhere else.
Yeah, and this way also you guys have a fallback. You know, you guys decide you want to get out of there. You know, I'm not. I'm going to be separate from it. And can, you know, worst case.
Besides, I don't want my thumbs cut off.
They took my thumbs, Charlie.
Now, if you save them on ice, I could probably reattach them.
I'll keep that in mind.
Good to know. So what are you doing?
For now, we should probably just get a hotel because we're going to have to book flights or these two and all that.
Oh, I thought we had decided that unless people are tracking us, we ought to just take the doorway
Or
home.
if you guys want to head home, you know, head back to
As far as I'm concerned, we have discovered a better mode of transportation at this point. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I think. Hello, Leslie. I think we definitely need to find some kind of base of operations nearby one of these exits that is handy to London.
Oh yeah, that's a thought. Brandon, that was one question I had about the gateways. Are they permanent in a location?
Mm-hmm.
Can we go back to the same one over and over again?
So far, given the limited amount of experimentation you've done, the doors in, let's call it the real world, the doors in the real world are static.
Okay.
You went in one, and then later you came out the same one.
Okay. All right, then find an expensive hotel near the London door.
Well,
All right.
I'm just checking in. We got to do a load of laundry and get dinner. So, hi, buddy.
This is Leslie Dannenberger, who might be joining the game.
And new digs. This is the new kitchen, by the way.
Lovely. Very nice.
So, no homeowners association. But now I must use new kitchen and eat.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
I wonder if we're going to hear all her pots banging and blender going while she's making dinner.
Well, link it up that she's having a quiet dinner.
Yeah.
Marshmallows.
Pudding.
Yeah.
A dinner of pudding and marshmallows. Okay. Let's see. You pick out a nice, expensive hotel. The Wellesley. The Wellesley. Yeah, that looks nice.
Sounds good to me.
A nice residential hotel.
It's a luxury collection hotel. Like every hotel room is like an apartment that I couldn't afford to live in. So, yeah, it's only like £500 or so a night, so you can afford it.
Oh.
And yeah, you guys check in under one of John Morgan's assorted aliases.
500 a night. I suppose there's a discount if we take it seasonally.
Maybe, I don't know, but it's costing you around 500, a little over £500 a night. And are you you can comfortably, if you share beds, you can comfortably have all four of you or all three of you in one room. Or do you want separate rooms? Up to you. What do you want? How fancy do you want to get? Or you get a suite. Yeah. They also have suites.
We'll do a suite then.
You get a suite.
Yes.
All right. And let's say the suite has accommodations and privacy for all three of you. And we'll say that runs, let's not too extravagant. Let's say £700 a night for that. So.
Wow. What a bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get to the room. There's like a stainless steel ice bucket with champagne in it and a plate full of strawberries, half of which have white chocolate and half of which have dark chocolate, and a basket of fruit. and bellhops bring up your bags and so forth. It's the kind of place you see in movies, except it actually exists in the real world somehow. And then what? You're all checked in.
Well, I suppose that Charlotte's heading off to talk to the Templars.
Yeah. You might want to talk about the lizard people, too.
Maybe. They didn't seem all that interested when we told them about the other issue.
Well, we ought to keep at least, somebody who's on the side of the Angels.
Yeah,
I'll inform them.
At least tell them about the Frenchman. Just go by.
Okay.
The French lizard guy.
Yeah,
just go. By the way, in case you're interested, so and so just got body snatched by the lizard people.
Yeah, he's an architect. He's a French architect in Marseille.
I'll give him. If I'm going to give him that, I'm going to give him the other two.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
And the other two, the two who are MIA, who are MIA. That's the reason why.
Keep in mind that the philosophy that you should be keeping in the forefront of your mind is that if we've got information like this, we should be passing it on to other people because it doesn't do us any good.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So let's go ahead and disseminate the information out there. And in the meantime, I'm going to write up a great dark web conspiracy theory webpage forum post concerning the fact that the following people have been replaced by lizard men.
Excellent. Oh yeah, I'll inform them.
A surfer who lives in Hawaii, who works as a part-time DJ. A French architect who lives in Marseille.
Yep.
And what was the other guy? A high school guidance counselor.
Right.
From Northern California. That's who got replaced.
Excellent.
Real movers and shakers.
Part of the Great Lizard Man conspiracy. But yeah, write the whole thing up. And having had a whole lot of experience reading conspiracy theory web posts, I'm probably pretty good at it. Write the whole thing up as if it is just another conspiracy theory web post, and make sure that every single fact that's in there is completely true.
That's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been replaced by a lizard.
Well, that's good.
You don't know that? How would you know?
Yeah, neither have any of us.
No, really, they haven't. Wink, wink, wink. But no, you would definitely know if you'd been replaced by a lizard person because
you'd be scared.
Because
nothing else.
You would be a lizard person. You'd remember being a lizard person, and up until the time they did the whole transmutation thing to make you look like a human being.
But I can if I look at them in my powers, I can see like they have a certain aura to them.
Yes, they have a cold aura.
And it's a saying, cold aura, for so far that I've seen. So
cold, quote unquote.
Yeah, so I should be able to look at them and see.
Yeah, but that's something you actually have to do. It's not something that's like on all the time.
Oh, I know.
Cold doesn't necessarily mean like actually cold. It's more like unemotional, like that. I mean, some people do have normal auras that look like that.
Yeah.
So it's not a guarantee they're a lizard person. They could just be very, very mellow.
Particularly unemotional.
Particularly unemotional. Or serial killers.
Psychopath.
Yeah, that
or State Department.
Well, some serial killers do have emotions. They're just a little whacked out.
Fair enough. So,
State Department operatives, on the other. Sorry. My uncle was in foreign service. His kids always joke about how nobody's job could possibly be that boring.
Hey, Leslie, were you planning on playing today? Or are you just hanging out and watching? Oh, she's eating. I'm sorry.
I'd like to play if I can.
All right.
I have no idea.
And your idea is what?
Well, I wanted to ask, first of all, since all of us are weird shit in some way or another, if the weird shit I can be is a werewolf in control.
A werewolf?
Yeah. The idea was ex-military along the lines of Jack O'Neill from Stargate, with that kind of attitude.
Who is that again? It's
O'Neill
been
from Stargate SG-1 or Stargate. He was very cynical, and yes, he knows there's conspiracies out there.
Was that the guy that used to play MacGyver?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was like on the team. There was like the archaeologist, and there's the guy that was played by Kurt Russell in the movie. And you're talking the guy who's played by Kurt Russell in the movie.
I patterned him after that, except he left the military because, yes, he knows there's something out there. And he's very cynical and very werewolf.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Werewolf could probably work. Just be aware that it's not magic. It's not supernatural. There's like a scientific reason behind it.
Okay, that works. Yeah. Well, remember that the Stargate theoretically had a scientific explanation behind some little alien getting in your head.
Now is this like hereditary werewolf or bitten by werewolf?
I'm going to say it's a disease because he said there's a scientific explanation for it.
So bitten, I would think.
Bitten, probably.
Well, it could be hereditary, like in the Wolf in the Forest.
Okay, yeah.
But just these genetic traits give you the night vision, the sense of smell, the this, the that,
Okay, yeah.
It's possible that it's a hereditary thing.
Which would you prefer?
The genes are there to trick.
Actually, I like the idea that Don was coming up with, because if magic doesn't exist, then he wouldn't be physically turning into a wolf. He'd be just having a lot of wolf traits. So that come from having been exposed to something or inherited it.
How do you feel about alien abductions?
Hey, if this is literally Jack O'Neill from Stargate SG-1, no problem. But I don't want snakes in my head.
No, that was my thing. I got the crystalline symbiote.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how's this sound, Leslie? Let me know if this works for you. You're a member of an elite military. Hey, do you want to be English?
Sure.
Or Welsh? I have a fondness for the Welsh. Anyway.
Welsh is good.
Or Irish or Scottish, actually. Any of those would work.
Well, I can do an English accent better than I can do either
you don't
Irish
need to.
accent or a Scottish accent. But I can do all three.
Okay, in which case, you're, Hey, do you want to be played by, what's that guy's name? Tom Hiddleston? They've actually, here's why I mentioned this. They've actually run into Tom Hiddleston. His actual name was, doodly-doo. What was his name?
Oh, Lloyd? She could only speak all three accents at the same time if she were arguing with herself.
Yes, exactly.
About a week ago, the PCs all got abducted, or let's say detained. They got detained by MI13, which is an extremely secretive British organization, military, secret, monster hunter kind of organization.
Yeah.
And the team they got detained by, the head of the team was a guy named John Fisher. At least that's the ID he showed them. Played by Tom Hiddleston. And it would be convenient if you wanted to play him, because that way they've met him once before and they know who he is. So, but if that doesn't work for you, you don't need to do that.
I can do that. Do you have is there a character sheet, or are we just?
There is not.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not for him, and not for anybody actually. But
Okay. Cool.
basically, it goes like this: you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 10, whatever, to distribute between your aspects. An aspect. I'll give you an example of Lloyd's character. This is Sorry,
I'm still listening.
Donald's
I've got
character.
a paper and a pencil.
Yes.
Okay. On the bright side, this is filling in time that I don't have to run the game because I had no ideas. But actually, no, I have ideas. I'm just not sure how they're going to fit together. So what's going to actually happen is I'm just going to start dumping them out on you, and we'll see what happens. So, to give you an example, Dudley, you've got 10 points to distribute among your aspects. One of those should be a weird aspect, something that is normal people don't have.
Okay.
To give an example, Mark Savage, Donald's character, has former getaway driver, 3, troubled youth school teacher / counselor, 3, and mysterious crystalline symbiote, 4. Total of 10. And the crystalline symbiote is the weird. You smoking again? Is that you quit?
No, just a pipe occasionally.
Huh. How avuncular.
Leslie, did you get the email that I sent, or did I send it
No,
to the wrong email?
I haven't had a chance to really look at it. I opened it, glanced at it, said, "Okay, I want to get online." So
Yeah, if you click on that, if you go there and you click on our characters up toward the top,
yeah,
it'll give you our character sheets, which will be a good example of.
you said there's characters on top. I just have the Nexus. It's RPG Nexus, home for your tabletop role playing, conspiracy theory, question everything.
Okay, scroll down past organizations and places is characters.
Okay, there's places, there's characters. Okay.
Those character sheets will give you an idea of what you're looking at for a character sheet. It ought to be pretty easy to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Basically, pick 3 or 4. If you want to spread things out a lot, you can get 4. Kieran's character has 4. She's got studious forensic pathologist, snarky hereditary witch, which is her weird aspect, cop's daughter, and amateur historian. Her cop's daughter and amateur historian are both very low. They're 2 and 1, respectively. Her main ones are the pathologist, 3.
Well, I said one would be amateur. I'm assuming one of my things would have to be military of some sort.
Sure. Make it like adjective, noun, or adjective, noun. So
Okay.
not just special ops soldier, but like honorable special ops soldier, or irritable special ops soldier, or
what was the name he gave again? Something Fisher.
John Fisher is the name he gave to them when he introduced himself. That's not necessarily his name, but that's what his ID said.
What was his rank?
Hell if I know.
I don't think he gave one.
He didn't give one to them, but he was in charge of like a dozen other guys, so it was. He was an officer of some kind.
Captain.
Sure.
Seneca Captain would be what he is.
Sure.
Okay.
We'll put 3 in that.
All right.
And let's see.
Well, you can. Why don't you work on this a bit while I run them through some stuff, and then I'll come back to you.
Question: what do I put down if I'm doing the werewolf thing, other than adjective and noun? Since you don't explain exactly how far I can go with magic or lack thereof. Could there be a physical change, or do I just have the aspect?
Could be. Okay. To give you some examples, Charlotte. Okay, there's not actually magic. I mean, there's things that look like magic, but they're not. Okay. Charlotte is a hereditary witch. Charlotte's witch powers are all psychic abilities.
Okay.
She thinks they're magic, but in fact they are actually all psychic abilities. There is a biological reason for why Charlotte can do what she can do, and she doesn't actually know what that is.
Yeah, but if you're actually changing form, that does sound like magic.
No, there's totally plausible reason for that, because you're dealing with like alien abductions and genetic engineering. It's like crazy, weird science kind of stuff going on.
Okay, then that's what we'll do. We'll do the crazy, weird science. Done to, rather than hereditary. Crazy, weird science done to.
Also keep in mind that a whole lot of what's going on is like head games and organizations screwing with your head. It's quite possible that you may very well think that you're a hereditary werewolf and you're not. You were grown in a lab and someone just implanted memories into your character that make you think you're a hereditary werewolf.
Okay, that works.
That is entirely
Yeah.
possible.
Or
The name of the game is conspiracy theory.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
or even while you were on a mission, you got captured by the people who did that to you.
Okay.
Or you make up something.
But I don't know this. I just put an
Yeah.
adjective to the werewolf.
Yeah.
Well, make it up.
Like Lloyd says, remember, conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Well, when you're describing it, describe the kind of character that you want to actually play. So,
Okay.
hulking werewolf. What's another word for feral werewolf or wolfman or whatever? Whatever.
Let's
Just
try.
throw adjectives in there, basically to give me an idea what kind of character you want to play.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and it's helpful if after that, for every point you've got in it, name something typical that you can do. For example, ravenous werewolf, and say it's at 4. You could have climbing in steep, inscalable buildings, seeing in the dark, tracking things by smell, throwing cars. Totally cool with that.
Immune to harm, except for
My 4.
Cars.
Yeah, no. My four were the original superpowers of Superman.
Okay.
Run with quarter-mile strides. Nothing short of a bursting shell pierces his skin. Yeah, I'm. My character description in the symbiote is Golden Age Superman.
Okay. Well, I can work on it now. Thank you.
Cool. Meanwhile, Charlotte, everybody's settling in. We're gonna say you guys left Wales early morning on let's call it a Thursday, and drove to London. Saw where what's her face, the actress, lived. You go to check in the hotel. It's around lunchtime in London.
In London, we can return this car.
Okay, you check in, and then let's say Mark Savage goes and returns the car. And meanwhile, Charlotte...
Because in London, there is absolutely no point. Get a motorbike, if anything.
So Charlotte makes her way to the Templars. Templar Square is kind of what it's called. But you make it there, and what do you do? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Oh, gonna try to get in. So...
there are, as you recall, at every street that enters the square, there are 2 cops, bobbies, with a barricade, and they tell you to stop and that this road's closed.
Is there still? Do I still have a card? Was there a phone number, or I still have whatever they gave me?
Yes.
If there's a phone number.
Richard Sonak, the guy you spoke to, he gave you a card with his name and number on it.
Right. Call him up. I got myself.
Oh, you pull out the card, and the cops go, oh, never mind, Mum. Going through.
All right. Excellent.
Didn't know.
Thank you.
Sorry. Going through. Good day. It's about as good as I can do.
Excellent. Perfect.
You go into this huge open square, and there's cars in here parked, not lots of them, maybe 4 or 5, in a huge area the size of a Walmart parking lot, surrounded by buildings on each side that all kind of connect to each other, because that's kind of what this stuff looks like. And you go into the place you saw Sonak before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Luxurious carpets, huge high ceilings, paintings the size of buildings on the sides of the wall with various historical scenes, about 2/3 of which have a knight somewhere in them, fighting usually other people or monsters or something. And you go into where Richard Sonak's office is, and the door's open, and you look in, you can see him at his desk, he's working.
Oh, I'm sure there was a secretarial type person.
There are a number of people kind of like standing or walking around in the big open area. And as you're looking toward Richard Sonak's office, one of them approaches you and asks if you need any help. I will show you what they look like. They're basically all, it's not exactly a uniform, but they are all dressed the same. And hang on, I'll show you how they're dressed. They're all young women, and they all look basically like that.
As long as I don't have to dress like that, I'm okay.
Okay. So, there you go.
All right.
Anyway,
well,
and she asks, may I help you, Mum?
No, I should still have the card in my hand because I put it away. I was going to go. Could I make an appointment to talk to? Oh, sorry, she'll not remember his name, but what's his name?
Richard Sonak. Sonnac.
No, Richard Sonak.
Oh, one moment. Stand here. Some water over there if you'd like some. Let's go. And then she walks into his office and low tones are exchanged, and she comes back and she says, "He'd see you now." And she smiles and walks away.
All
and
right.
This is what Richard Sonak looks like. And you come in. He stands up and he straightens his coat. And he goes, "Miss Day, have a seat.
Thank you.
What may I do for you?"
So I've thought about it, and now that I know where my at least what my friend's next step are, I've decided I'm going to part ways and see if you're still interested in my joining you, your association.
Absolutely.
All right.
Now you know that if you join us, that means that we will send you on missions or assign you tasks, and we expect you to do them.
Well, yes.
Okay.
It's the other guy. It was the other guy who was the mercenary. Couldn't get through
Mr.
him.
Savage.
Yes. I would expect to be kept, to have something to do after all.
Actually, do you know what Mr. Savage is doing now or next?
He's heading back to statewide.
Really?
Yeah.
Will you stay here for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
And he gets up and walks out. Oh, there's a sherry over there and some water, and help yourself. And he walks out.
Thank you.
He's gone for like 10 minutes.
I might have some water. I'm not going to drink. It's the middle of the day.
About 10 minutes later, he comes back. He sits down. He's like, normally, when someone joins the Templars, there's a period of training involved.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be given weapon training or IT training, computers, that sort of thing. However, you present us with an interesting opportunity. Your friends, particularly Mr. Savage, are unknown quantities. And sorry to say, but our influence in the States is not quite what we would like. So rather than have you on a normal assignment, I'm wondering if you'd be willing to, well, let's just call it what it is, spy on your friends and report to us on their activities, and maybe from time to time, if there's something that we'd like you to do, perhaps get them to tag along. Would you have any ethical objections to that?
Probably not. If I show up again, they're going to guess what I'm doing, but they're not really going to care what. Most likely out of the way.
I believe that. I'll tell you what. Let's do that then. There's some paperwork and a few oaths and some medical examinations that are required. And then you'll be on board.
All right.
Great. Julie, he just behind you, and there's a different young woman dressed the same. She's going to take you first to fill out some paperwork, personal histories, who your family are, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, their parents, any cousins living, things of that nature. And then you'll be asked to pledge an oath of loyalty, which is long, but you won't have to remember it. We used to, in the old days, you had to memorize it, but it's really quite long. And it's in Old English, so it's difficult to remember. It's difficult to read. And then once you're done with that, then there's like a medical examination and some other things. And then you'll have full membership, and you'll have our full faith and support wherever you may be.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
If you need to make a phone call or anything, you should probably do that now, because you're going to be quite busy for the next several hours.
Oh, yeah. I should probably go ahead and call in and quit.
Do you have a telephone you want to use, or do you want to use mine?
I can use my cell phone. If that's
all right. I'll give you some privacy. And he gets up and he leaves again. Janice will be here waiting for you when you're ready. And he leaves. And Janice is like hovering at the door, but he just leaves and he's just gone. You don't see him again. Unless you go looking for him.
Okay. Text him out. Great new job position. England. Send. And traveling. Well, that's it. And then call work. It's like, I am due to family situation, I need to turn in my notice.
Wait, you're calling and telling somebody that on the phone?
I'm calling and quitting.
Okay.
And
they say that you need to come in for an exit interview and fill out your, what's the hell is it called? Like detachment form. I forget what it's called. But there's a bunch of forms they want you to sign when you leave.
Yeah.
Severance.
Severance paperwork. Yes, that's what they want you to do. Come back in and fill this stuff out. When will you be able to do that? The person on the other end of the phone says.
Probably tomorrow or the day after.
Okay, well, you need to do that before you get your final paycheck. And by that I mean you will not get your final paycheck until after you do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Because I'm a functionary and I'm going to exert what little power I have.
And I don't care at this point.
Why would you? All right. Essentially, the next several hours, you have to fill out just bazillion. Have you ever applied for a security clearance?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it's like 30 pages of forms. And you've got to remember stuff that who the hell even remembers this? So I assume you fill it out the best you can. And then after that, there is an oath. It is, what?
I'll use my powers if I have to. Autofill, just like, okay, I'll fill out this one, you fill out that one.
Call it the spirit of your great-grandmother. Grandma, where was so-and-so born? And she'll go, oh, he was born. Oh, how are you doing? Oh, my goodness, you've grown. Anyway, yeah, he was born here, and he was married to her, and she was married to him. So basically all this genealogical stuff that they're asking you about. And after that, there is an oath. It's in Old English. It's 2 printed pages. It has it actually printed. Yeah, it has actually printed in Old English, and then underneath that is a phonetic pronunciation.
Oh,
so that you
I
can.
have no problem with this languages.
And yeah, you have no problem with the languages at all. And there's actually a priest of some kind who basically officiates over it. And there's like, oh, you do see Richard Sonak again because he's there. And there's also a couple of other people you haven't met there while you're basically giving your oath. And the priest like blesses you and does whatever priest things do. And it's Roman Catholic, actually. It's not even it's not even Anglican. It's Roman Catholic. So so then they do that. Then they take you off to a doctor who takes blood tests and skin samples and a DNA swab in your mouth and takes a few strands of hair out of your head and makes you jog for like a half an hour and then measures your heart rate. A whole bunch of stuff like that. It's like a full hour of medical tests, which is actually not all that long, but still. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, Mark Savage comes back after dropping off the car.
Mhm.
Donald has frozen.
Bye. We're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you guys hear him?
Yeah.
Because I.
He's not as loud as usual, but yeah.
Oh, hang on. Maybe
That's good. Then.
my stuff is paused. Let me pause this.
Yeah.
Pause. 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 I had something downloading in the background. I'm pausing it and see if that makes any difference.
Okay.
Oh, hell, I'll just close it. File, exit. Okay, that's closed. Try again. Say something, Donald.
Can you hear me now?
Much better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was it. Okay, you come back from dropping off the car, and
Yeah.
Charlotte left, and you don't know this, but she won't be back for several hours. So just
Right.
at some point you'll
We don't
notice
know
she's
if she'll
gone.
ever be back.
Hmm?
We don't know if she'll ever be back.
I guess you don't, really.
We will see her years from now on a mission to Marrakesh.
So it's lunchtime. You guys actually haven't eaten at all today.
I was gonna say I'm picking up some takeout and a 6-pack on my way back to the hotel.
No, don't do that. Go somewhere with John Morgan.
Oh, okay, well, that cancels my plans. I was planning on calling for a whole lot of room service.
Oh, well, I guess you can.
Sure, that'll work.
Okay.
So at some
Fine.
point, after I finish my conspiracy theory magnum opus and post it to the dark web, I would want to go out and hit a pub.
I was gonna say I'm still bringing back a 6-pack.
Fine. You bring your takeout in a 6-pack, and when you get there,
We're in London. London. This is like the epicenter for pubs in the entire world. We have to go to a pub while we're in London.
you guys are both breaking up so bad.
Are we?
I mean,
It's
it may be on
called
my end.
pre-game. John, it's called pre-gaming.
Exactly. Yeah, we can front load before we go to the pub, but we still have to go to a pub.
I'm not downloading anything. What the hell? Why are you all breaking up so bad?
I don't know. We appear to be doing well between ourselves. So
Yeah, you guys can hear each other just fine.
Brandon, they're out to get you. Part of conspiracy.
Okay. Maybe to clear up. Let's move on. Okay. Mark Savage comes back, and there are 2 silver rolling carts in the suite full of takeout food of various varieties.
Thanks.
Beef bourguignon and beef Wellington and hamburgers and fish and chips and whatever the hell else you want.
Oh, hey, lunch. Here, have a beer.
thank you. And
Pick
give me
up
like
a bite.
10, 15 minutes. Give me like 10 or 15 minutes, and we will hit a pub.
You, as Mark
I better
Savage
hurry.
wolfs, Mark Savage stuffs himself as much as he likes, and around the time he's done, you submit your conspiracy theory article to the dark web about these most recent lizard person replacements,
Yes.
and then go hit a pub. There are lots of them. You just pick one at random, or pick the closest one, or you research and find the most authentic British pub, or what?
No, not that. I'm feeling particularly lazy. I'm just going to pick one at random.
Okay, pick one at random.
Pick that one and head in that direction.
Okay. Leslie, how are you doing with your character write-up? Have you have any questions?
I think I've got something.
Throw it at me. What you got?
Well, let's see. I gave 4 to Fierce Werewolf, and I can track by smell, see in the dark, fight or hunt. I don't know what you want to call it, and I'm super strong. I'm a cynical military captain with a weapons skill, a leadership skill, and military protocol. Just for shits and giggles, I'm an amateur musician, and I'm playing the violin and the bagpipes. Eleanor is the last is curious scholar, and I do research.
Okay. That's fun. As far as what was I going to say? Oh, as far as like the being super strong, like, give an example of something you could like actually pick up and throw.
I chased it down.
Hmm?
After I chase the car down, I can throw it.
Okay. Because that's perfectly fine.
I'm a wolf. I'm going to chase cars.
Yeah, there. That's how you put it.
That's how you put it. You'd be chasing cars,
Chasing cars and catching them.
throwing
Hey, that's
cars.
my thrills.
No,
Alright.
yeah, chasing cars and catching them.
Catching. It's better
Okay.
than hunting people.
Here's what happens to. Oh, is John Fisher his actual name, or is that an alias he was using for these guys?
I haven't come up with a name yet, but I'm figuring that's an alias. That'll do for now.
Okay,
Until I can come up with a good name.
that's fine.
Kind of like
So-
John Morgan.
Yeah. I mean, thinking if there's hereditary.
One of these days, I'm going to get around to asking him what his actual name is, because I'm pretty sure that's not it. It's just hadn't been important yet.
I'm going to tell you right now, because of the last name Fisher, I'm going to go with something Arthurian, more than likely for a name.
Works for me.
Yeah. Like Fisher, Fisher King and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
I have to think about it.
Oh, my sweetness is going to bed, I think. I'm going to go kiss her goodnight. Be right back.
Okay.
She's not feeling well.
No.
Oh, this is, for Leslie's benefit. This was John Fisher as he introduced himself to the gang.
I'll take that picture. That works.
Queens. I liked it. That was a good picture.
Yeah, I'll take that. He looks kind of werewolfy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal.
He'd work. He'd work.
It works.
John Fisher was investigating, or whatever his name winds up being. We're just calling him John Fisher for now.
Yeah.
He was investigating a conspiracy of a group of cultists who were doing something that you don't know what they were doing, because that's why you were investigating, because you didn't know. But the information you had on them was they were going to do something to coincide with the eclipse, which is happening later today. And
Sun and moon.
something like end of the world apocalypse cult kind of thing was going on.
What is it? Sun
And-
and moon? Solar or lunar eclipse?
Solar.
Okay.
Sorry, solar eclipse.
Okay.
The sun being blocked by the moon.
The world. Okay.
And although I don't think England got a totality for this, but we're just going to skim over that for now.
Push it. Okay.
We're just going to pretend it affected the whole Earth. We're just going to
Yeah.
just pretend that. And then, because I didn't think about that until just this minute. So anyway, apocalypse cult.
It all makes
gonna-
sense if the Earth is flat.
Well,
There you go.
actually, if it's a cultist that's trying to end the world, they can affect the solar eclipse. So it will be totality in England. That's
There
why
you go.
we're investigating.
So
Well,
you
no,
and your
it's
team.
that all conspiracy theories are true, therefore the Earth is flat, and that's why we have totalitarian England.
You and your team of about a dozen, like highly trained, what the fuck? Highly trained, highly skilled special ops SAS, is that what they are now?
Yes.
Like that.
Although in your case, they are former SAS. They were recruited from SAS into an even more elite organization, MI13. So you were to go in, and mostly your assignment was less investigation and more shutting it down. Like,
Okay.
more or less, it's like shoot everybody and ask questions later kind of a thing.
Exactly. Lock and load, walk in with extreme prejudice.
We don't
Right.
have anything against doomsday cults until they try to bring it about themselves.
Okay. Like I said,
Uh,
lock and load, shoot anything with extreme prejudice.
Well, it turns out that whoever gave you your intel lied to you. It was an ambush. All of your guys got killed. At least you think they did. You got away just barely. You tried to rescue some guys, but like on the way out, you were just completely surrounded. But you did manage to get away somehow. You dragged one guy with you, but he once you got to safety, he died right there with you, and so you can't trust the people who sent you. And because the way MI13 is structured, you actually only know the people who sent you. You know MI13 is bigger, or at least you believe it's bigger, but you only have direct knowledge of your immediate superiors, and they're the ones who sent you in, who apparently betrayed you. So that sucks. And your whole team's dead, and you've got your special ops knowledge, and you're kind of a combination of commando James Bond kind of a person. And
probably itching for some revenge.
say what?
Itching for revenge.
Well, that would be reasonable. Anyway, so who can you go to for help? Because your agency spies on them, the Templars are here in London. But the Templars and MI13 are not friends exactly. So
Well, now I'm not friends with MI13 either. So
yeah, but the Templars they're really, really formal. However, you did just a week ago detain some people who had contact with the Templars, so they've got some strange abilities or something. But they didn't join the Templars. If they're still in London, you might be able to go to them.
did I get names on them? Did I get names on them?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you detained them and questioned them, and got their IDs and everything.
Okay, and I have researched, so I think I can find them.
Yeah, I think you can. Oh, it's important that you do it before you bleed to death, because that's happening. All right, meanwhile...
So then I think I better go to the hospital.
No, if you go to the hospital, they'll find you.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Well, I can have some skills. I mean, if I'm an elite group, I can probably patch myself up.
Oh, also, one of the people you detained is an actual doctor, so that's another good reason to go find them.
Go find them. Yep, that's what we're doing. Go find them.
So you patch yourself as best you can. You put off the whole bleeding to death for a few hours. But you might have internal injuries, and you're going to need a real doctor at some point. Meanwhile, I'm looking at empty screens for everybody but you.
What?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
We're all here.
Everybody.
Oh, now you're back.
I was throwing cat treats for my cat, but
Now Lloyd's back. Oh, apparently when you guys are quiet for a while, it goes back to your icons.
Oh.
That was wacky.
That could be an update to save bandwidth.
Yep.
Maybe. Wacky. Okay, so Mark Savage, John Morgan, go to pub.
Yes.
Sit down, order beers. It is a pub. It is early afternoon, so it's not very crowded. But it is London, so there are people there. A funny thing happens. A woman in a raincoat and galoshes. It's not raining. Hasn't rained, as far as you guys know, it hasn't rained in days.
Right.
Okay. A woman in a shiny red, like bright fire engine red raincoat and yellow galoshes comes over to John Morgan, and she's holding a beer, and she looks kind of like this person.
Oh dear God, not her again.
Anyway, she comes up to John Morgan, and she's holding a beer. It's half empty. She goes, "Do I know you? You look really familiar."
No, you do not know me.
Magic marker guy.
I'm sorry, what?
Magic marker guy. You kill those people with the magic markers.
What?
I'm pretty sure it's you.
I'm pretty sure it's not me.
You sound American.
I am American.
We're in the hallway. There's a bunch of guys with guns. I killed a couple of them. A couple of them came out of the elevator. You had a box of magic markers. You threw them on the ground. The guy ran up. He tripped over the magic markers. He sprayed down his friends with bullets and killed them. And then I picked up a gun and killed him.
The guy with the gun killed him.
No, that was you.
I'll scroll back through my phone, through the pictures on my phone, and show her the picture of her pointing a gun at me.
Yeah, that's me.
Are we talking about this again?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you doing in England?
Oh, I'm gonna kill somebody. I'm not sure who yet.
Please tell me it isn't me.
She looks at you. She goes, "Nah,
Good.
that's not you. I would know if it was you." I want to ask, how you do that?
Do what?
The thing with the magic markers.
Gravity.
Huh. She drinks her beer and puts the glass down. She goes, "Oh, gotta go," and she walks out.
I'll look over at Savage, show him the picture on my phone of her pointing a gun at me. I meet the strangest people in my job.
Yeah, so apparently we're not.
I'll be right back. I'm checking on my laundry.
Okay.
Cheers.
So apparently we're not the only ones who cross oceans at this gig.
I guess not.
Who do you think she works for?
I have no idea. Probably not my bosses, though, because she shot up one of their headquarters.
Oh, I don't know. That could be a false flag.
You hear the screech of tires and the crash of large vehicles hitting each other.
Yeah, let's go check that out.
Well, whoever she is, she seems to be good at her job.
I think so. Yeah, I didn't realize she was anything other than just a random nut or zombie. So let's go find out what she's up to.
Okay, finish off the beer and
I'll just run over to the door and look outside and see what's going on.
A small, expensive European car has been hit from both sides. One side by a delivery truck, the other side by a double-decker bus. And the car in between is smashed like the middle of an Oreo cookie, and there's several dead people inside of it. And there's crowds and milling about. The Milling About Festival. And there are people running to the car and to the truck. They're trying to get people out. The car in the middle, they can't get the people out because it's just completely smashed.
Look around. The scary zombie chick anywhere around?
You don't see her around. Her job here is done.
indeed, she is very good at her job. Next time, introduce me.
I don't know her name. I saw her once and she tried to kill me. That's all I know.
Well, then it'd be a perfect chance. So next time, introduce me. When you don't know her name, you leave a pregnant pause, and that way she feels really ridiculous if you don't fill it in.
I don't think social faux pas are really a problem with her, but okay, I'll give it a shot.
Well, you hang out at the pub for a while longer, and then where do you go?
I find myself suddenly in a position where I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I want to find out more about Agartha.
Yeah, the doorways.
But should we wait for Charlotte?
Is she coming back?
I assume so. I mean, it's she's joining the Knights Templar. It's not like she's well, I was going to say a cult, but no, they've been around too long really to be a cult.
But you see my point.
Hang on, I'll text her and find out if she'll be long. It's like going to check out the Stargates. Going to be long?
We'll say Charlotte is at this point sitting in the nicest hospital gown you've ever seen. It's a 600 thread count hospital gown. So, and
magnets in the back so you don't have to walk around with your butt hanging out.
no, it's a luxury hospital gown. Anyway, you're sitting on a table waiting for the doctor to come back, and you boop, 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 text back whatever you want to text.
Yeah. Having fun with medical exams, not period, not giving them. Maybe a few hours.
Okay. Well, I'll text back. We'll report back in a couple hours then. And
Okay.
tell Mark we got a couple hours to kill.
All right.
So you should go back to the hotel room to pick up some gear before you go on your excursions.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Sounds like a plan. Meanwhile,
I have a
Leslie.
backpack full of stuff.
Sounds good. Leslie, John Fisher. You call in some favors, do some research through your connections, and you find out where his name is different, but you know it's the same guy because your people know people who are monitoring. London is the most heavily observed city in the world. It's got cameras everywhere. So you do the equivalent of whatever the NSA is in London.
Okay. Head there.
I'm hearing.
I think that's Kieran in the background. Her mom might. I think her mom might.
No,
Was that you in the?
No, it's my roommate. She's talking.
Oh, okay.
Good night, Linda.
I just, that's okay. I just wanted to know where it was coming from.
Okay. I just wasn't sure whether I wasn't hearing you clearly or what. Okay. Anyway, long story short, you find out where they're staying because facial recognition recognized John Morgan, and although that's not the name he checked in at, and you find out what room he's staying at what hotel.
Okay,
And you
that's all.
drag your blood-soaked body. Your pants are just like soaked in blood. You're leaving bloody footprints. So, that's a little exaggerated. No, it's not that bad. Okay, so you got like heavy blood stains across your chest and pants, but you keep your coat closed and it's not so obvious.
Yeah.
And you knock on the door. They're not there. But you know they haven't checked out.
Then I think we're just going to slide softly down the wall and sit and wait.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going anywhere.
Every once in a while, like a bellhop or a maid walks by, and they look at you, and you just give them the look that an upper class English person gives to a lower class English person, and they go on their way because that's how things work here. And so you guys get out of the elevator at the hotel, walk down the hall, and oh look, there's a dead body leaning up against the door of your hotel room.
I'm not
Oh,
dead.
it turns and looks at you.
hey,
It's not dead.
Hey, man,
That's a relief.
Did you order a spy?
Just a flesh wound.
I look at John. Hey, man, did you order a spy?
No, not me, man. I don't need spies. Why? Oh, that isn't your dead body? I assume.
No,
Gentlemen,
somebody dropped one off on our doorstep.
gentlemen, let's just say I need you right now.
Oh, I feel so
Please.
special. All right, I guess we better get the dead body into the room then.
Yeah, especially if it's going to be making this much noise. I unlock the door and open it and see if she goes thump inside. To see if you go thump
No,
inside.
I think I'm still conscious enough to be able to stand up and go inside.
Okay, in case I help you stand up.
Yeah, we'll help him in. You know, I'm suspecting this is the kind of hotel who isn't going to ask questions if we leave bloodstains on the sofa. So lead him over to the sofa and let him and drop him.
No,
Yeah,
they'll just think it's a honeymoon.
Brandon, which one of them is the doctor, or is it Kieran?
Neither.
Neither of them.
the doctor is Charlotte Day, who is not here.
Yes, I'm in need of Dr. Day, urgently.
Well, she said she's undergoing a medical exam and she'll be back in a couple of hours.
Oh no, do I have a couple hours?
You think so, as long as you don't move too much.
Reach into my pocket, pull out a flask, hand it to him.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Say,
It is If I remember correctly, it is excellent scotch.
Yes.
How about you punch up a hole? How do you deal with whatever wound we got here? See if we can get this done.
Okay, yeah, I got a first aid kit. Hang on. Rummage through my backpack and pull out a first aid kit. Hand it to.
Need some gauze?
It might be more serious, but I think that will help for the next 2 hours.
Wait. We got like safety pins and stuff too. Hang on.
Oh, fantastic! I don't think my sewing skills are good enough for stitches anyway.
Let's wait for the doctor.
Well, if you say so, but if you die, it's not my fault.
Not blaming you.
You have about a half hour before Charlotte Day comes back. If you want to abbreviate and condense what Captain Fisher, let's just call him John Fisher for now, or just Fisher. If you want to, in a condensed way, tell them whatever you want to tell them, go ahead and do that.
Basically, they'll be told, my people have betrayed me. I owe nothing to them. You are the only people I feel I can trust right now.
That's sad.
Boy, have you got problems.
Things I did that is pretty bad.
And I thought I had problems. Boy, do you have problems.
No, see, that's the way it works, Mark. It's, you look around, somebody around you is going to be having worse problems than you are. That's just the way of the world. Anyway, we'll see about getting him at least first aided and taped back together long enough to stay alive so that Charlotte can, do what she needs to do.
Yeah.
About a half hour later, hey, Kieran, are you here?
Oh, apparently somebody stole Karen. Oh, wait.
No, she should come back.
Sorry, my mother just arrived.
Oh, yeah, hello, Kieran's mom.
Hi, Jenny.
You were saying.
I'm with the group that I've been meeting with usually on Thursdays.
Anyway, you were saying?
You're done with the medical stuff. They say you have an excellent bill of health. You're extremely healthy, and you can get dressed and go on about your day. We will be in touch. Oh, and at that point, another young woman. They are all young women, all of them. They're all between 18 and 22. They're all female, and they're all dressed in basically that same burgundy dress. And anyway, as you leave the doctor's wing, or you're not even sure if you're in the same building anymore because all the buildings connect, but somebody has escorted you around to the various places you need to go. And as you leave this particular doctor's office, a different young woman in the same outfit has a silver tray with a leather handbag, and she hands it to you. And she holds a silver tray so you can take stuff.
All right, leather handbag. All right.
In the expensive leather handbag, which is burgundy, there's a phone, and there's a notebook, and there's a tablet computer, and there's a pair of binoculars, and there's a satellite radio. So,
Cool.
let's see what else would there be. Oh, and a credit card. And there's a wallet, and you open up the wallet, it has membership cards to a few very, very, very old organizations in England and throughout the world, and a credit card.
All right.
Cool, you've got a club.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a member of a club. Yeah.
If only you were the joining sort, right?
I know, yeah. You're gonna have to make.
You can always mooch off the joiner, or pretend you are a joiner. Yeah, you are. You are.
No, I'll just fake membership.
Exactly. That's what I meant by pretend.
As soon as you learn all their fancy handshakes, it's easy.
So the young woman who brought you the silver tray with the loot on it, she asks, well, that ends, I've been told that ends your introduction to the Templars. Is there anywhere you need to go?
As soon it looks like I'm heading back to the hotel my friends are staying at.
And what hotel would that be? And you tell her.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to come this way? And she leads you down a hallway and down some stairs and eventually out a door, and then you're on the street.
All right, there we go.
It's that way, she says. Eventually, Charlotte comes back to the hotel room. There's a click at the door. She comes in.
Hey, Charlotte. There's a dead guy on the couch, and you want a beer?
Not quite dead guy.
Yeah, he's not quite dead. And a beer would be nice. And my med kit. On
You
top
find
of
your
my
med kit.
suitcase.
Yeah.
All right, walk over.
Dr. Day, good to see you.
Here.
I didn't have the heart to tell him that you're actually a forensic pathologist, but I figured you can break it to him.
The forensic pathologist does have an MD, thank you. Because I didn't go become a ER doctor doesn't mean I don't know how to do some of this stuff.
Besides, what other kind of doctor would you call for a dead body?
And Fisher knew she was a forensic pathologist, but she's still a real doctor.
It just
Holy
means
cow!
that-
There's a giant grasshopper on my window.
Cool.
Yeah, but our characters are the types of people who would have that conversation anyway.
You totally would. All right.
Yeah.
It takes Charlotte a good
As such.
15, 20
and
minutes
Leslie, I'm sorry, but your character will now forever be referred to as the dead body.
Hey,
I would take it as a personal favor if you would go ahead and get that out of your system very soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go get my med kit since he seems to be having too much fun. Oh, just give me the beer. It's like, all right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
All right. Let's see how bad it is, and then I'll give you some. Let's see if I have anything for the pain before I
Okay.
start stitching you up.
He has to take off his coat, and once he takes off his coat, his shirt is soaked with blood,
All
which
right,
is
fine.
troubling. But he takes off his shirt, and he's got like these ripped abs and these taut pecs. He's fit. He's quite fit, as they say in England.
I'm presuming the shirt's destroyed, so rather than let him like sit there and unbutton and crap, it's like I'm like, no.
Just cutting it off.
Gentlemen, I don't suppose you could acquire me some new clothing when this is finished. I can give you some money.
Oh yeah, no problem. I think we can find something.
Thank you.
Something I haven't cut up. Yeah.
Anyway, he's
Yeah,
been
treat-
stabbed. Well, he's been stabbed several times, and you stitch those up, and those are minor. The important one, the one's doing most of the bleeding, is somewhere like in the lower right abdomen.
Mhm.
Miraculously, missed most of his missed his important internal organs. You managed to stitch it up and fix whatever is most life-threatening. And he's lost a fair amount of blood, so he's going to be dizzy for a while, but he'll live as long as he doesn't tear his stitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it had been any worse, I would have done an internal healing and just stitch up the outside stuff. Make sure he doesn't croak, but
Thank you.
only if it's necessary. I believe in. I don't. Yeah. Like, okay, he's here. I'm not going to blow all my magic on doing anything more than saving him.
Well, make your doctor roll.
Doctory roll.
Tell me what you get.
Where is my dice box?
I have to do something.
You need 12.
I'll go ahead and Google kilt stores to see what I can find for Mr. Fisher.
It might be appropriate. I play bagpipes.
Crap! I only rolled a 10.
Okay,
3.
your medical skill is insufficient to fix whatever is the internal trauma. You
All
think a knife or something. Apparently he was stabbed several times. Apparently a knife nicked something, whatever's over on the right-hand side.
Kidney? I mean, lip. Yeah, kidney.
There you go. You think it nicked a kidney. And
Right.
you don't have the tools here to fix that.
But I do have the skill. All right, I will use magic then.
Well, that's just, you don't even need to roll for that. That's easy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So you do your magic thing, light a candle, burn some incense, and stitch up the outside. And so when she's done, Fisher has like gauze wrapped around his midsection, but other than that, he's fine.
Oh, cool.
A little dizzy, a little lightheaded, but other than that, he's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get up too quickly unless you like becoming vertical very quickly
I
again.
have no place to go right now. I'm not even
Actually,
sure if I can go home.
Actually, that's not true. there is still a group of cultists, apocalypse cultists, who are doing something
Oh, I know.
or planning to do something during the eclipse today in a couple of hours.
Actually, doctor, gentlemen, what I was attempting to do was trying to stop a cult from destroying the Earth via the solar eclipse. Apparently, I was sent into a trap. All my companions were killed. Are you up for trying to stop the apocalypse?
Wait, you can destroy the Earth during a solar eclipse?
They think they can.
Oh, the code word that you heard, Fisher, is Nibiru.
Okay, write that down.
Nibiru. I remember hearing that once before.
Yeah, that's the alien planet that's supposed to crash into Earth during the eclipse.
Oh, okay.
Where were they?
I'll give the location.
Cornwall.
Yeah.
I don't actually
Now,
know where Cornwall is.
Bear in mind, they were expecting me and my companions. They may not be expecting us.
All right.
This is not Stonehenge.
I'm kind of hankering for some payback.
How good's the CCTV coverage in Cornwall?
Not
Start
great.
looking and find out.
I'll explain everything that I saw before the shit hit the fan.
Cornwall's kind of rural, looks like.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot of CCTVs. There's some like highway cams. Ooh, Penzance is in Cornwall. Did not know that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, yeah. Doesn't it start with thing with the Cornish coast?
Could be. Yeah. The particular place is just south of a place called Camborne, which is rural Cornwall.
And I just returned the rental car too.
Camborne is a fair-sized town, but south of that, there's a lot of green on the satellite map.
How did I get from where I was to here? Did I?
You know what?
You drove.
I have a vehicle, gentlemen.
However, they know you have the vehicle,
No, but
so
unfortunately, they know the vehicle.
you had to abandon it because
All right,
otherwise they could find you.
That's what rentals are for.
all right, John. I think it's time to buy something.
In England, it'll be faster to rent it. Or, I could steal one if you want. It's not really my forte, but I've got the theory.
Renting it and then destroying it under a false name is pretty much the same thing, only faster.
No, my
my
understanding is since the plates go with the car and the taxes and inspection go with the sticker, you just hand somebody money and take the car, and then you register it on your own time.
If you pay in cash, yes, you don't want to pay with credit. They'll be able to trace you.
What is your plan, Mark Savage?
Let's go rent another car.
Hey, you can rent a car.
I
mean,
think
that's-
if we're basing out of here, we might as well go ahead and buy a decent one.
Eventually, yeah.
Like an M5 or something.
Ooh, they've probably got the equivalent of like an auto trader in England. We could probably buy one through there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be easy.
Or a Rolls.
I don't want
Ooh,
to.
a Bentley Speed GT would be nice.
Oh, just shut up and come up.
Pick a car.
You guys would love riding in the back of a Bentley
Nothing
Speed
like
GT.
being
Up to
in
100.
stick horses there.
Pick a car. And are you renting it or buying it?
Renting it.
Okay.
We'll rent this one.
Any idea what kind of car? Some kind of sedan, I'm guessing?
Yes, a large 4-door, a large Bodeve car. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be right back again.
All right.
Okay.
Benz S-Class, 5 Series BMW, whatever the big Rover is these days, something in that range.
Exactly. Yes. Oh, actually, Beth just came home. I gotta go say hi to her. I'll be right
Go
back.
say hi to Beth.
Hello, darling.
You know, it's funny. All the cars are starting to look the same to me. I mean, 25,000, 75,000, they all basically look the same.
Yeah.
Like here's a S-Class sedan from Benz.
All right, I'm back.
I mean, doesn't that look pretty much like a Hyundai?
Yeah.
Kind of.
They like all just look the same. It's weird. Anyway, so you're in a
Yeah,
car.
Okay, let's.
Mercedes that was designed by McLaren had that really cool like kind of jet engine looking front end on it.
I remember that one. The Mercedes-Benz symbol was like the front of the car.
Huge. It's the size of a hubcap. Yeah.
Okay, you're in a car. You got a car. Oh, Leslie's. Fisher is out of it for the moment because he lost so much
We'll
blood.
throw him in the back
So
seat.
where are you guys going? He told you were going to Cornwall,
Oh,
and you can drive for like an hour without asking for directions and get there. We're gonna say. So you get to Cornwall. Do you stop for anything on the way, or just heading straight there?
no, it's right there.
Okay.
It's not that long a drive, as I recall. I mean, all of England's like the size of Virginia. So.
It's true. It's true. They're so tiny. Oh goodness.
Yeah. So how much would we be looking to drop on this car when we buy it?
Why do you want to buy a car?
He seems obsessed with buying cars.
Because the end
like
result
having
is
my
you're going to
own-
leave it. Here's the thing.
Right. Which
The
is
end
why I'm
result
going-
is after a week or two, you're going to leave it burning on the side of a road somewhere. So why buy it?
Yeah, really.
Why not just rent it?
Rent it when
less paperwork.
Actually, no, it is not less paperwork. Renting is.
In England, it is. In England, you just keep the title in the car, and when the car burns, the title burns, and there's no record.
Yes,
Mark, I just gave you 100K. Go buy a car.
Yeah, but besides, he's doing this all under fake IDs, anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is in England, you don't have to do the whole because the plates go with the car. The plates and taxes all go with the car.
Okay, so we're going to say. Let's see. Cornish Estate. Let's see what we can find. Hey, there's Leslie.
Hello.
Okay, you guys get to Cornwall. Fisher gives you guys directions to the estate where, goodness gracious. Pardon me. You know, I Google Cornish estate and every single image is ruins. All of them.
Apparently
Was-
not up to date in Cornwall.
Did an apocalypse happen in Cornwall? It's like, good heavens. Every single one. It's like some ruined building.
Destroyed everything in its path.
Okay, we'll go with this. It's kind of humble looking, but that's fine. You get to Cornwall. Fisher gives you directions down a long and winding road between lots of farmland, or whatever they have in Cornwall, but it's green on the map, so we'll just say farmland. You see this at a distance.
Ooh.
Fisher's team basically surrounded the place, went in, and was immediately ambushed by a bunch of cultists in dark robes who knew exactly where they were going to enter, as though they knew your tactics ahead of time. And several cultists were shot and killed. We're going to say a good dozen were shot and killed. But the rest managed to dogpile on Fisher's team, stab him, and some, Fisher believes, were tied up and dragged away for later nefarious usage. Fisher himself, you were trying to get away. You dragged one guy with you, although he was mortally wounded. But so this is where it went down. So either this is where they are, or this is where they were, and maybe you can track them from here.
Okay.
How's that sound? Does that sound plausible?
Yep.
Cool.
See if they've got a wireless signal.
Do they? I don't know. Let me see. That's really funny. My goodness, they do.
Oh, excellent. Great.
It's a random string of letters and numbers. I mean, the Wi-Fi ID is, it's like one of those factory preset things.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. For 13,500 pounds, an Audi A8 S8 with the 5.2-liter V10 Lamborghini engine and all-wheel drive. 99,000 miles, 2008 model year.
It says you drive into Cornwall. Mark Savage has the London Auto Trader open across the steering wheel, and he looks up from time to time to make sure you're staying on the road, and he's flipping through the Auto Trader, picking out cars he wants to look at when you guys get back to London. So
sounds like a good one, man.
I'm actually really impressed that for under 15 grand in London you can buy a Lamborghini.
Yeah,
Lamborghini engine.
That is.
The older the sports cars get, the more expensive it becomes to dispose of them. So you can buy them dirt cheap.
Oh man!
And just drive them until you need to leave them burning as a Hulk.
At the risk of continuing this conversation, which I really don't want to do, but at the risk of continuing this conversation, there's a Mercedes supercar that has like hydraulic suspension and hydraulic door openings and closings and hood and hatch and stuff. It's a Mercedes AWG or something like that.
The AMG.
AMG.
Yeah.
That new was like 80 grand. It's 10 years old, and you can get it for under 10 grand now, which is nuts. That is nuts.
There must be so much wrong with that thing.
Well, it's just, no, that's just like, because literally anything that breaks in that car costs a Paris Hilton inheritance to fix. So, like if the door hydraulic thing breaks, it costs as much as it costs to buy the car to fix it. So
yeah,
it's just nuts.
In
but
England,
they're like
sports cars are especially expensive. They're considered a luxury item for obvious reasons. And
they are.
The sports car gets, you've got to pay a tax to dispose of them when you get rid of them. And the tax goes up the older the sports car gets.
That is crazy. All right, so here you are in Cornwall.
For nothing.
The clock is ticking.
But okay, see if I can break into their wireless signal.
Make it roll.
Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh no. Well, not in the time that you have left. You're pretty sure, according to Fisher, the eclipse is supposed to start in about 45 minutes, give or take, and you could eventually break in. You're positive, but that's not even a question. You can eventually break in, but you think it's going to take longer than the 45 minutes you have.
Okay.
Wait. How is breaking in going to take longer than? Oh, breaking in electronically.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to piggyback off their wireless signal, but it's just not working.
Not unless you leverage your quantum mathematical chaos manipulation kind of stuff, which is going to cost a weird point.
How about I get you in through a window so you can plug into the router or something?
Oh no, I can break into the building. That's not a big deal. I do shit like that all the time.
Shall I scan it first? Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell how many people are in there?
Before it's make sure it's not. We're not walking into yet another trap.
Make a roll. This would be. You need to spend, Charlotte. You need to spend a weird point and make a witchy roll. And for that, you just need an 8.
I just rolled crap.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 7.
Jesus, you people are sucking hard. Okay. Well, Charlotte attempts to send her astral form into the estate, but you hit a barrier that keeps you out. You don't spend a weird point for it though. You don't lose anything if you fail.
Let me go get some dice. And how healthy do I feel? Do I feel I can get really wolfy and go rip something up?
Make a wolfy roll. You need 8.
That's why I said I gotta go get dice.
So here's the deal. John Morgan could break into the wireless network, but it would take longer than you have. Charlotte tries to astral project into the estate, but hits some kind of barrier around the estate.
Can I reach in and unlock a window so we can read the password off the side?
Well, at this point, you're like a good 200 yards away. You're actually looking at it from like across a field.
Can I see the router through a window?
No, you can't see the router through a window.
Here, I pull a binoculars out of my brand new bag. Here.
What kind of dice are we rolling?
I'm sorry, what, Leslie?
What kind of dice are we rolling?
2d6.
2d6.
It's always 2d6.
2d6, and we add it up and tell you the number, right?
And you add whatever the trait, the aspect number is. So if you're for healing up after being stabbed to death, that'd be your wolfy roll. So it'd be what, 4?
4.
Okay, so 2d6 plus 4. You just need an 8.
I just need an 8?
Yes.
I made a 10.
Spectacular. On the ride here, you feel much, much better. You've recovered significantly since earlier today. Now that you've been like stitched up and you're not actually bleeding, you're much
find a
better.
router, huh?
What?
You all, I'm asking them. You all want to break in and find a router? I'm asking them.
Breaking in to find the router is so low tech. I can't.
How
I know where it is. I just have
sneaky
to
do you want to be about this?
Well, I was gonna jump. I was gonna go in, but I can't. So invisibly.
But how sneaky do we need to be about this?
You tell us.
Yeah, really.
It's probably a good idea to be sneaky.
How many do I
The last
think are
bunch
still
that went in there was
left?
heavily armed and they all died.
How many do I think are still left in there?
At least a dozen.
A dozen. Okay. And
Which is actually twice as many as you were told there were, and you've killed at least half of them the first time. So there is a drastic difference between what you were told and what actually
do I
happened.
remember approximately where the router is?
Well, you never saw the router. You didn't get that far.
router.
You got
Do I
into the
remember
courtyard
approximately-
outside.
Do I remember approximately which room may or may not have had any of these people in them? Is there an empty room?
Well, you don't know, because all of the intelligence you were given was false, other than the basic just map of the building.
We don't
And
have time.
there's a wall around, and then there's a building in the middle. And once you got past the outside wall into the courtyard, that's when you got ambushed, and that's when everything went to hell.
Okay.
Okay, I grabbed Charlotte's binoculars. I'm casing the joint.
Just give me a clear shot somewhere. Tell me if there's a clear window or there's no guard.
And 8 plus a 3, so 11 for
Okay.
casing the joint.
Well, like I say, this is what it looks like.
And this is like, best way to get in unobserved,
Or
seeing if they've got any, all the stuff, seeing if they've got patrols, lookouts, that whole
You don't see patrols.
kind of casing the joint.
As you're looking at the windows, you see curtains at all the windows.
Okay.
You do see some light behind some of the curtains. Like the curtain, I mean, it's not hermetically sealed. So, like, you'll see, like, a long sliver of light between two curtains where they hit, that kind of deal.
Just tell me which curtains may not have light at them.
The far left.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, okay.
That seems like a good entry point.
You're not seeing lights between the curtains or around the curtains at the far, far left. But you do see curtains in the windows, but no lights from inside. There's that low wall going all the way around, and it's a low wall. I mean, at the height, it's on a hill, and the wall itself is even. So at its highest point, the wall's maybe 6-7 feet tall. So it's easily something you can climb over. That goes all the way around the building.
Okay.
Fisher's team went through the openings in the wall and were immediately ambushed.
Okay.
Yeah, I vote we don't do that.
All right, Brandon,
Yes, sir.
I will go ahead and use my weird ability and essentially take over their computer.
Okay. You fire up some quantum computing and some strange equations, and you hack into their router, and that hacks into the laptop, one, connected to the router, and it becomes apparent to you that this is something. Oh, you can look at the uptime.
Mm-hmm.
The uptime is like 32 hours. So basically, they got here, they plugged in a router, and they plugged the laptop into it.
Does it have a webcam?
Okay, well,
It has. You're like looking at the laptop's device manager, basically, and you can see it has a laptop plugged in, but it's not currently on. If you turn it on, a little red light will come on the laptop. Beep.
Yes, I'll go ahead and turn it on.
Wow. All right. Does anybody notice? Let me roll.
Who, me?
No, not you.
Oh.
So it looks like an old-fashioned country house as far as the webcam is concerned. And from time to time, someone in long, dark robes with a hood walks past. And then a little while later, somebody else will walk past, or the same person. It's hard to tell. They're all wearing long, dark robes with hoods. And at one point, two people in long, dark robes with hoods walks past. And then somebody comes over and you can see his face full on. This guy you can see. It's a man. He's white. He's got a white mustache. No beard, just mustache. And he's tapping at the keyboard and looking at the screen and tapping and looking at the screen and tapping and looking at the screen. He does this for a few minutes, and then he gets up and walks away.
What's he looking? What's he
trying to
looking?
figure out what you're doing.
So, everybody else, this is like a good 5 minutes, which seems like a really long time when you're watching somebody else type at a keyboard. So, everybody else watches John Morgan type at a keyboard for 5 minutes. What are you guys doing?
I need to go in. Make a distraction, maybe. I haven't noticed. Does anybody in this group carry any kind of weapons? Or they just have their weird
A pistol. It's in New York.
What? I
mean,
didn't hear that.
She was asking if any of us carried weapons. I said, I have a pistol. It's in New York.
I've got two alien incineration ray gun rifles in the trunk, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't have any reloads for them.
Question. Do I remember whether or not these cultists had anything other than knives?
All you saw were knives.
Okay. All right. I'm intending to go in. We don't have much time.
I know. I'm curious. Since while we're looking, I'm gonna go pull out those binoculars they gave me. Look through them. Are they just ordinary binoculars, or do they do anything?
Oh, are you kidding me? No. They are not ordinary binoculars.
I didn't think so. I want to see what they do.
Do you ever had a digital camera that had like 40 times zoom? It's like that. It's like they look like binoculars, but when you spin the little wheel, it's like it's crazy.
And range finding and
And there's like a little number that says how many meters. It's all in meters. It says how many meters away what is in focus is. So it really depends on what's in focus. It's not. It's a focus thing. Anyway, so the number will fluctuate a bit when you're looking at something that's moving.
Cool. Okay.
So yeah, you zoom in on one of the windows and it says 203 meters, 204, 203, 204, 203.
Cool.
And yeah,
All
night
right.
vision and everything.
Nice. All right. Cool.
Night vision
curious.
is just black and white.
I'll let everybody know what I'm seeing in the house.
We have less than 40 minutes.
Yes, we do.
I'm going in.
Just out of curiosity, with what? I didn't see you carrying anything weapon-wise.
Yeah, I wolf out. Do I have to roll?
No. No, you don't. And actually, if you want to have a firearm of some kind with you, you totally can.
Yeah, I'm thinking not at this point. It might be in the car I abandoned.
Yeah. Well, it was empty anyway. You emptied it into several cultists.
Yes.
So
I probably have
like,
2 more at my house, which I will try to get to later.
sounds reasonable.
But right now, wolf out.
So, out of curiosity, are you like Wolfman kind of wolf out, where you just kind of get hairy and your teeth get long, or do you actually like semi wolf head on big ass body, or do you turn into an actual great big wolf?
Yes, a great big wolf.
Like Twilight style wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4 foot at the shoulder kind of wolf. Okay, awesome.
But I would explain the abs anyway.
Well, that's a thing, ain't it?
Charge.
Fluffy.
Can you talk as a giant wolf?
I'm thinking not.
Up to you. So it's an elaborate charades game when you want to communicate. Okay, that's fine.
No, except to me.
So the wolf is like 3 words. Sounds
Yeah.
like.
I just look at
Timmy
at the entrance and go.
What is it, Lassie? Timmy fell down the well?
Damn it, man! I was like 10 seconds behind you.
My character likes this game.
So, great big gray wolf. Gray, I assume.
Great.
Or could be red, could be black. What do you want?
Great.
Big ass gray wolf,
Moving toward black.
the size of a horse,
Yeah.
bounds toward across the, and kind of slightly uphill toward the estate.
And he said he needed us.
I needed the doctor. But it would be nice if you followed me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Put on a pair of gloves so I don't leave fingerprints on whatever I pick up in there to use as a weapon.
Prudent.
I want to try one of the Lizard Man blaster rifles.
They're the size and shape of the Sawzall.
You
Hang on.
mentioned that.
I did mention that. Hang on.
How many rounds do they have left?
That's an excellent question. Do you read Lizardman?
They have
Alrighty
guard.
then.
There you
Oh,
go.
I heard that.
What the hell? That is approximately the size and shape of the Lizardman plasma rifles.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Just for comparison.
nasty. Yeah, I did need your help. Yeah, with one of those, yeah.
So, 2 of you have those, and you follow Fisher up to the building. Yes?
I'm gonna drive the car up to the building rather than run the building.
That works. Let's see. Does the car get stuck? I don't think so. Nah, that'd be boring. I'm not even gonna roll. So the car bounces because it's a field, and
It's a driveway.
you keep pace up to the outer wall, and then you're there. And the car's there, and you keep pace with Fisher, who has jogged along beside you. And now you're there. What do you do?
Well, I'm leaping the wall.
In a single bound, the
Yes.
massive
Hopefully
wolf.
landing on somebody on the other side, maybe. If there is
On the other
any.
side of the wall, you see several dead cultists, but you don't see any of your team. They're gone.
Okay.
And you know that some of them died in this courtyard.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's a set of doors that has no light on, and I don't think the glass is going to be any problem.
No, that part of the building actually looks newer.
Yeah.
So, like, the right-hand side of the building, from the way you're looking at it, has lattice work in the windows. Like this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The left-hand side of the building, the windows generally don't have that. They're just big panes of glass.
Okay. Well, I'm what, 400 pounds of wolf?
You're a great big wolf, yeah.
I should
Are
be
you
able-
going to wait for the people who are, in theory, right behind you?
Yeah, I am.
Just wondering. So what are you guys doing?
I guess I'm gonna like pull out a Slim Jim and jimmy the door open.
Oh,
Oh, you-
do that.
You climb over the wall or go through one of the openings or what? At this point, you're outside the wall. What are you doing?
I'll slide over the wall at one of its at one of its low points.
Not hard to do. Easy to do. Hup, right over.
Yeah,
And there
I may be kind of raining on somebody's parade here, but I was just going to take one of the plasma rifles and shoot it at a big section of blank wall.
Oh, yes, please do. I don't feel like climbing over. Crap.
Please do. Sarge.
Do you climb over the wall before or after doing that?
No, I get out of the car and shoot the building.
Okay.
Man after man.
When it's a building, what am I going to do? Miss?
You couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
And John Morgan was unconscious when these were used. He
Yes.
only has Mark Savage's description to go by.
Correct.
But you hold it up and you aim at the building and you
What do you do anyway? Sarge.
you pull the firing lever. It's not like a trigger like a human gun. It's like a lever.
Right.
You go, and a blast of blue energy hits the side of the building, which like crackles and spreads instantaneously to an area about 2 meters in diameter, give or take, which then turns into blue energy and then evaporates rapidly. And now you have a hole in the side of the building about 2 meters around.
Okay.
And that's what happens.
Practically drive the car through that.
Well, the car's on the other side of the wall, and you're on that side of the wall.
I thought
He's
he was
actually shooting over the wall at the building.
I thought he was gonna hit the wall. Okay.
Kieran, what are you doing?
Oh, I am apparently going over the wall since there's not a hole through the wall that I'm feeling safe going through.
Oh, come on, it's chest high. You can climb on it.
Yeah.
Besides that, I looked at a great big hole in the side of the building. So.
It is a great big hole. And the bottom edge of the hole is only like 3 feet off the ground. You could probably step over it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I can scoot over.
So you climb over the wall. Then what?
Yeah. Climb over the wall and the ground, and then if nobody's gonna attacking me, then I'm going to head towards
the building.
hole in the wall.
No, the courtyard between the wall and the building has, let's say, half a dozen dead bodies. They are clearly dead in dark robes. Dark brown robes as you're up close. Or maybe a reddish brown, kind of a dried blood kind of brown. But anyway, there are half a dozen dead bodies, and they're just like laying there. And there's like lots of other blood on the ground as well, but there aren't people to go with that.
All right.
It's time to go in.
Yep.
Revenge is a dish best served.
Okay, I'm going to roll over to left to right on my screen, and we're just going to go like that. So, Donald, you jumped
Yes.
the wall. You got a Slim Jim in hand, and then to your right, there's a blue blast, and a large opening appears in a wall to your right.
Well, I put it back in the satchel and stroll on in.
You stroll on in.
What kind of room have I walked into?
Looks like a dining room. It's got a big old wooden table with a lot of big old wooden chairs around it. There's a buffet on one side, not a buffet full of food. I mean, just like a long table,
Yeah.
and it smells very old-fashioned. There's a wooden chandelier kind of a thing hanging down,
Okay,
and it's quiet. The weird thing about the plasma rifles, visibly they are super obvious, but they're not actually all that loud. There's like a zzz sound, but it's not any louder than I just did. It's nowhere near as loud as a gun.
Okay. I'm gonna open up the drawer on the buffet and see if there's some sharp silver in there.
You open up a couple of drawers, and
Steak
yeah, there's a
knife,
silver set. It's got a cake
carving.
server and a big ladle, and then there's a bunch of steak knives and a carving knife. Sure,
Yeah. Okay.
with like
Grab-
really
grab-
fancy silver handles. Probably 300
Okay.
years old.
Cool. tuck them into little pouches in the satchel. They'll come in handy.
And it's eerily quiet.
You
The
know
loudest
what?
thing you hear, actually, is the panting from the giant wolf that's just over there.
It wants to get some revenge.
Charlotte,
You
what
know
are you
what?
doing?
Habits are hard to break. I'm going to scoop up the rest of the silver and dump it in the satchel.
So while you're doing that, Charlotte, what are you doing?
Going into apparently the dining room, and I could try again to see if I can, so we're not wandering around this building forever.
You can
See
give
if
it
I
a try.
Try to figure out where we're going. That's a lot better.
10?
I rolled a 10, so that makes it 14.
Wow, okay. I'll give you extra stuff then. All you needed for the layout was 10. So Charlotte climbs over the hole into the dining room while Mark Savage is filling up his satchel full of silver. And she like closes her eyes and concentrates, and you kind of float out of your body, and you get like a general floor plan of the place. There's like upstairs, there's downstairs, there's bedrooms upstairs, but you find a great big room, which is kind of like you're not sure if it's a ballroom or a large den or something. In that room, there are about a dozen people in robes. There's a great big circle drawn on the ground in something. There's a platform or a low table. On the platform or low table are piled up, like literally piled up, 4 guys in military uniforms who appear to still be alive. And up against the wall is a mirror the size of a car. It goes as tall as the ceiling. You're not even sure how they got it in here. And that's leaning up against the wall. Oh, and the guy leading, like what appears to, you can't hear, you can only see. The guy leading the ceremony is also wearing a dark robe, and he's got a white mustache, and he's like, oh, you can't hear him. His mouth is moving while he's gesturing, and everybody else is just kind of like has their heads low and they're kind of swaying from left to right.
All right. Okay.
Just then, the moon starts to eclipse the sun outside.
Hey.
Dun, dun, dun,
Let's
dun.
do some rock and rolling.
At least
So-
I can
That's what Charlotte sees. Next to go, Fisher, what you doing?
Oh, we're going to go find these people and start ripping things up.
Go through the hole or elsewhere?
Go through the hole.
Okay, and then go further into the house. Is that your deal?
What's the smell? Smell. Specifically for my people.
Oh, that's a good one. Make a roll. Make a Wolfie roll. You only need to spend a weird point. Okay, here's how. Oh, I didn't explain this to you. Weird. So you've got 4 points in your wolf thing.
Yeah.
So you have 4 weird points. If I ask you to make a roll based on that, usually you don't need to spend a point. It's just something that comes with it. It's only if you're doing something really extraordinary that you have to spend a weird point, and then it goes from 4 to 3. I mean, your actual rank in it stays at 4, but your weird pool goes from 4 to 3, then to 2, then to 1.
Does the pool recharge itself every game, or you have to?
Whenever you have a chance to rest or sleep or whatever.
So I've spent a weird point to spill out my people.
Well, you don't need to do that. Smelling is fairly ordinary, so you can just make a roll.
Okay, so then I have
You
to
need 8.
add 10 points again.
They're bleeding, so it's just 8. You rolled a 10?
And I'll do-
Awesome. Yeah, you totally get where because let's say they're bleeding. It's easy to track. And
Yeah.
to the right.
Going.
So you just tear off into the building after them.
Yep.
Right. The great John Morgan, the enormous wolf that you brought with you for some reason, leaps into the room through the hole you made, sniffs around, and then bolts off into the building.
I'm going to assume the wolf knows what he's doing, so I'll follow the wolf. Jump the wall, climb through the hole, carrying
Okay,
the
cool.
Lizard Man blaster rifle with me.
Well, the wolf can't run full speed because it's kind of tracking as it goes, so you can easily keep up with it. It goes down a hallway, stops, sniffs around a bit, continues down the hallway, up some stairs, and you kind of get to the top of the stairs, and the wolf is like sniffing back and forth where to go from here. Back to Mark Savage. You've got all the silver cutlery any burglar could want.
Right.
And a nice
Okay.
candlestick, besides.
Yeah. Okay, now time to go find the bad guys.
The wolf and John Morgan have just jogged past you.
Let's follow them.
Charlotte, what are you doing?
Are they heading the same direction as where I saw stuff?
They are.
All right then.
Oh, is there a wine bottle?
Sure.
I'll pick one up along the way.
Okay. It's not great wine. It's English wine, so.
Oh, I don't intend to open it. Well, okay, I do, but not the end with the cork.
We'll just see how it goes. So you guys jog after Fisher and John Morgan. And down the hall, up some stairs. At the top of the stairs, John Fisher, you cut to the right, which is kind of back toward the middle of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And opening up in front of you is a large open area. And you're not sure if this is a ballroom or some kind of large living room or den or something. But in any case, it is what I described earlier to Kieran.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a kind of an altar kind of a thing with some kind of strange geometric circle, lots of squiggles and drawings in it. Leaning up against the wall, an enormous mirror. Opposite from the mirror is a guy incanting and gesticulating, and then there's about a...
He's my target.
Okay, and there's about a dozen cultists kind of like swaying back and forth and kind of murmuring.
He is my target.
And that's what everybody sees.
Head off.
So you do what then?
We're going to just charge and bite something's head off.
Okay.
I'm very angry.
Well, I'm going to roll for this guy, and you roll for you, and we'll see who wins.
I rolled a 6.
+4?
+4, yeah.
That is enough for you to bound across the room and tackle this guy and knock him to the ground.
Okay.
Easily
We'll
so.
proceed to rip his throat out.
Can't quite rip his throat out yet.
We'll
But-
work on that next.
You can totally give that a try. John Morgan,
Such violent people.
you.
These people killed my people. I'm not a happy camper.
Oh, there are 4 of your people piled up on an
Yeah,
altar. No, literally, they're just like laying across the altar, piled up on top of each other. They appear to be alive.
Enemy is disabled, so.
Just letting you know.
Disable enemy, then help friend.
Sounds good. So, John Morgan, what are you doing?
Keep following the werewolf until I get to the room full of cultists.
You saw that.
Okay, so we got a
Werewolf
giant
tackled the guy who
mirror.
appeared to be leading the cultists.
Right, so he tackles the guy, the wolf tackles the guy leading the cultists. We still got a dozen or so cultists.
They are still murmuring and swaying back and forth. They do not appear to have been interrupted by what happened to the leader guy.
Okay, I'm going to run into the room, take the lizard man plasma cannon, and shoot the mirror.
Oh my god! Sorry.
Bad idea.
Shoot at an angle,
Pretty
please.
interesting.
Bad idea.
I kind of dig it.
That should be interesting.
Finally into things I wasn't expecting.
Fun with that.
Why don't you roll
Upward
2d6?
so that it angles further up and like hits the ceiling.
Oh my god. Okay.
I rolled a 6.
2, 1.
I rolled double 6s. So, here's what happens.
Oh dear.
That's going to be
This-
messy.
Things don't always work out the way you expect. So, everybody like runs up to the opening of the room. The wolf bounds across the room, tackles the guy and knocks him aside. John Morgan goes, zzzt, burst of blue energy, hits the mirror, crackles across the mirror. The mirror crackles, and instead of just like turning to blue energy and then going poosh like this, which is what everything else does,
Right.
it like swells. And there's like a
Take cover.
I'll kind of stand there and observe it, like, huh, that's interesting.
Mark Savage, what do you do?
Just stand outside of the range of the kawoosh. That's all you have.
Yeah, take cover. If I'm feeling particularly generous, I may grab John Morgan by the shirt and drag him down too.
John
But-
Morgan seems fascinated by what's going on.
Hell, I was not expecting that.
Stay out of range of the kawoosh, then you're fine.
Charlotte Day, what are you doing?
Did I see him do a stupid thing?
Well, I wouldn't call it stupid. You didn't know ahead of time what would happen. It's not like there was an instruction book.
I was fully
Okay, no.
expecting it to reflect. But
I'm sorry. Basic physics says this is a bad idea.
Well, my reasoning was, you've got a bunch of cultists in this room. They're obviously trying to summon something. Whatever they're going to be summoning, call it Cthulhu, whatever it may be, it's going to be coming through that mirror. So we want to close that door. So shoot them.
I think your logic is impeccable.
And firing energy at a reflective surface doesn't strike you as at all.
It's a disintegrator ray. It just blew a hole in the wall.
It's an incinerator ray.
Charlotte, what are you doing? Mark Savage is ducking behind the brick wall either side of the doorway and is grabbing
arguing.
John Morgan and dragging him back behind with him. What are you doing?
I am also ducking for cover and
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
I'm looking at, and I will change my view so I can see what the heck's going on in a at the different level.
So you like duck back behind the brick wall and like astrally project a little bit so you can peek around the corner?
No, I'm looking. I'm not astral projecting it. I'm just changing my sight.
That's kind of how that works.
Yeah.
Okay. Astral projecting is fine too. I just want to be able to. I want to see okay.
That's fine.
See around the corner without being in the debris field.
Yeah.
Or you can just peek. Peeking's good too.
I wanted to peek and see what what energies are going on.
What you see is not. It doesn't really make sense from like a physical standpoint. So it's sort of like a Photoshop effect that where the mirror is kind of like swells and expands, and it's like if it was a picture, someone would just like take the middle and just do this with it. But that's not how the real world works. So there's something strange going on there. And all the people swaying see something happening with the mirror, and they turn toward the mirror, and they're like, ah! And the wolf, you're on the guy with the mustache, and the guy with the mustache looks over the mirror, and he's like, ah! And
Really?
I give the wolf Fisher one last chance to do something or anything or whatever. What do you want to do?
Okay, mirror my companions. Is the mirror close to in any way affecting them?
No, you're closer to it than they are.
Okay.
But there's a whole bunch of cultists between you and it.
I know what I'm going to do.
What's that?
I'm going to take this guy by the scruff of his neck, fight, and toss.
Hey!
Okay. You
Throw
pick him
him
up and
out. Yeah.
heave him up through the air. He arcs in the air over the altar, over your four buddies, and hits the area of space-time that is like swelling and expanding. And there's a bright blue flash. And then there's an area the size of a normal-sized house that is missing from the building and the ground and the roof. It's just like basically like a great just chunk got cut out of the world right there.
When the mirror's
I'll
gone.
look over at Mark Savage and say, see, that's what I was expecting to happen.
The mirror's gone, the altar's gone, the cultists are gone, the floor's gone, the wall's gone.
Yeah, what about her people? Are they gone too?
They're gone.
Did not want that to happen.
Yep.
Nothing left behind but the great smell of brute.
Well, we stopped the cultists anyway.
Yeah, they were probably replaced like by lizard people anyway, like all those people in Wales.
They didn't look cold.
You didn't see the face of anybody except the guy with the mustache, who disappeared in a bright blue floosh. It's very quiet
Yeah,
now.
no,
What are you doing?
I meant her former friends.
Oh.
They were probably replaced by lizard people anyway.
It's not consolation.
Uh,
We stopped whatever they were trying to do. That's just one good thing.
You definitely did that. And then the eclipse ends, and sunlight comes back to the world, and everything continues the way it was. Yay!
Yay!
I'll make sure that their family.
So we saved the world.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
That works. Few more
Well,
people.
that was easy.
Well, I'm going to take my normal form. And I'm going to say, well, that's not the end of it for me. I've got to take care of the people who betrayed us.
yes.
By us, you mean you and your team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's complicated.
I don't have to do it immediately. I'll take my time.
Well, if you want, I can check around here and see if they left any information behind.
Yes,
Like-
I can do that.
Who their mole was in your organization.
I bet you the laptop wasn't in the altar room.
It wasn't.
Oh no, it was all the way back the other end of the house, if I recall.
Yeah.
But yes, we can find out who exactly in my organization is the traitor.
All right. Well, search the place. Start looking around. See what there is to see.
The building itself seems fairly ordinary. Just old.
I'm in need of repair now.
Yeah, it's gonna need a new roof.
And new wall, and new floor, and
Yeah.
new foundation.
Walls.
Around the back, you find a half dozen or more, let's say 9 cars parked. So there's that. And then you find the router and the laptop. The laptop is locked, but you can eventually break into that.
Okay.
And what the guy with the mustache was looking at on the laptop was an ancient manuscript that had been scanned and digitized that he was reading.
Oh, okay, cool.
Gee, that's never smart. You gotta have the original. You have to have like printed copy for that crap.
That might be useful.
Looks like Mayan hieroglyphs. I'm not sure what you call the Mayan language.
Pictoglyphs.
Pictoglyphs. Yeah, looks like Mayan pictoglyphs. He was reading a scanned copy of Mayan pictoglyphs.
Okay.
And you can get a bunch of names and addresses from the cars because they're all registered to real people. They're not rentals.
Yeah.
Cultists never... Why would cultists rent cars? They don't expect to be caught. If they did, they wouldn't be cultists.
All right, cool. So yeah, go through, find out what information we can, specifically information concerning the government's involvement in this and who the mole was. Otherwise, let's see. Oh, find out who owns the thing.
It's going to be that easy.
Make some rolls.
Okay.
Let's say make 2. One for
I would like
tracking
to-
down moles and one for paper trail for owns property.
All right, I got a 9 for tracking down moles and a 10 for who owns property.
Those are good.
You might also try to determine what exactly they were up to.
The property is owned by a Sir Miles Nightingale. And if you find a picture of him, it is the guy with the white mustache.
Aha.
So,
Guys,
There's
so
that.
it was owned by.
General Sir Miles Nightingale. He was a British Army officer. Or he was, he's retired.
Very.
very, yeah.
Very retired.
Extremely retired.
As far as moles, you get a bunch of coded messages that you pull off the laptop to this laptop, or from an address that this laptop checks. Anyway, from an anonymous source that has covered its tracks very, very well.
Okay.
Yeah, I said this would probably not be as easy as it looks.
But the anonymous source, basically, it has a list of the names of who's going to attack, when they're going to attack. It's got a history of the kinds of tactics that the team leader, Captain John Fisher, has used in the past. He typically divides his squad into 3, brings a small force in first, which attracts most of the response. Then the other 2 forces come in from 2 other sides, flank the first responding force, and takes them out. And it says that Captain Fisher has used this tactic in 6 out of the last 8 operations, and it's likely he'll take that tactic here.
Well, you've been busy.
Unfortunately, we did.
Right. So whoever it was that sold you out knew exactly what you would do.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, sure.
Apparently, you need new tactics.
I think it's time to change tactics.
Yeah, well, we don't exactly fight like your normal squad.
I do.
Here, let me blow a hole in the wall. Bzart.
Well, when I'm on my own, I don't exactly fight.
So now what? It's actually very quiet now.
Too quiet.
Enjoy the eclipse. What else?
Well,
All right. Well,
we should take a skip.
This guy had a pretty nice house.
Hmm?
What exactly did they intend to have happen? Does it happen to say in there?
Do you read Mayan?
Well,
Usually it's something like crashing a planet into the Earth.
yeah, I could try to read it.
Let me fire up a translator.
I could try to read it.
Chloe and John Morgan, roll some dice. See what you get.
Actually, if Kieran goes over to her bookshelf, she's got what you need to read Mayan.
I rolled a 9.
I rolled an 11.
Neither of those are good enough to figure it out. You get hints about doorways and opening of roads and new eras.
They were going to crash another planet into us.
or open a doorway and let some invading army through. Who knows?
And start a whole new era of something.
Potato, potato.
Planet, army.
Devastation.
See if I can find any car keys.
Let's see. Did they change into their robes, or did they put the robes on over their normal clothes? Let's roll some dice. I'm going to say 8 or less. They are wearing their normal clothes under their robes. Hang on, it's taking forever to roll. 7. They were wearing their normal clothes under the robes. Oh, what kind of cultist does that?
Normal cultists.
You strip down to your nothing and then you put a robe on. But no,
English.
they're English, so they're all repressed. So yeah, all their car keys went with them.
Oh, then check the bodies outside.
Oh, that's a good point. There are a good dozen bodies outside. Those have car keys, or at least 3 or 4 of them do. They carpool.
Well,
I mean, there's not parking for like 30 cars, so.
Give all the car keys to Savage and tell him to go take his pick.
he hands you four key rings of various types.
So we just keep trying until we find
Yeah,
out.
you hit the button and you see what chirps.
Yeah.
Minivan, no.
I'll one in particular and say, and the creepy thing is, this one's going to
Maybe throw it in the rack at somebody.
This one's what?
I said, tell Mark, the creepy thing is, this one's got a Hello Kitty keychain on it.
Let's see. Boop boop. Minivan, no. Boop boop. Toyota, no. Boop boop. Ford, no. Boop boop. Jaguar, there you go.
Yeah,
That was
nice
the Hello
extra.
Kitty keychain.
It's a Jaguar with the Hello Kitty keychain.
Yep.
It's pink.
Okay.
Seriously, I've seen it.
Okay, so we now have a car to stash in an alleyway, and
Because you stack Jaguars in alleyways.
Well, you realize that eventually the constabulary is going to be called upon to find some missing persons. And,
which is why we stash it in an alleyway instead of putting it on.
Or you go find a cheap, go find a dilapidary garage we can rent.
Yep,
Well,
Back
somewhere,
alley. if you
shouldn't be
feel
too
so.
hard.
somewhere during this stashing, I would like to go to my home and kind of acquire some of my stash.
Oh, I'm sure.
I won't be safe to live there anymore.
I'm sure the stashing only requires him.
Yeah, you guys can take the other car and do that and meet us back at the hotel.
We can make sure it's safe for you to go inside first. If you
Oh yes, of course. And I believe that I might actually have to resort to my real name.
It's a 4-door Jaguar V8, like 500 horsepower sedan. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Oh, one of the new F types. Nice.
It's an XJL,
Oh yes, the supercharged,
if that matters.
the supercharged one. Yeah.
So there you go. So your plan is to take, you're taking your both cars back. You're dropping John Fisher off at his house to.
Well, no, I would suggest not dropping me. I need to have the car to remove what I need.
Okay.
Oh, no problem.
Oh.
Back in the house.
So
I
who's
can-
going to with John Fisher and who's going elsewhere?
I'll
I
go with
can-
John Fisher.
What do you say, Lloyd?
Yeah, well, one of us should go with John Fisher just to do a reconnaissance on his house. So if you want to go, Karen, then you can recon him just as easily as I can.
If not easier.
Take-
Mark and I will take the highly illegal Jaguar, steal the plates off one of the other cars, swap them around, and we'll take the other car back.
Have fun.
Is there anything else in this house that we can pilfer? Look around.
Yeah, he found some silver, so you know.
Yeah.
That's still thinking nickel and dime.
Oh,
There's
have fun.
some very valuable stuff here, but for the most part, it's in the form of antiques. It's the kind of stuff you need a truck to steal.
Got it. Okay, I won't worry about it then.
I went looking for a knife. I found some ladles and spoons and forks, and that was too nice of a set to break up.
Sheffield, very nice.
The gentleman who owns them isn't going to need them anymore.
Well, that's
All
true.
right, so let's bug out of here then.
All right.
I'll be right back. I need to visit the restroom.
Okay.
Wait,
So do I.
wait.
Oh,
Yep.
let me pause the recording.
I
Pause.
think
I'm back. I think we're waiting on Kieran, but she ought to be showing up fairly soon.
Cool beans. Yeah, that is not how I expected that to go. I thought that would go a bit longer.
you're dealing with us.
You start handing us disintegrator rifles.
Yeah, this is true.
Box more often than not.
But you basically did the portable hole inside of the bag of holding tactic. So there you go. And a foomp, and everything goes away. So there you go. Right then. So you've got an ex-MI13 Special
Werewolf.
Forces guy, werewolf / person. No, that is like full-on werewolf. That's not even Wolfman. That's full-on transmogrifying
Fluffy.
into giant wolf
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
Oh, I have a name, by the way, which is what I'm going to. I'm thinking that because I'm Special Forces working with MI5 or MI3, whatever,
13.
13, that I was using John Fisher on all my paperwork and stuff like that. And since John Fisher is now officially dead, we'll go back to the real name. And it's Aleyn, Alyn Brennan, Brenin.
Cool. Email that to me when you get a moment.
Mhm.
So you introduce yourself. Now that they've helped you, if not rescue your friends, at least avenge them. You introduce yourself as your real self to these people.
Yes, I said my real name is Alyn Brennan.
Yep. Pleasure to meet you again.
Huh. That's not
It's the
French
name I'm
for
going
dead
to have to
body.
use now since John Fisher is officially dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd have expected it to be something like Corpus Morte.
Yes.
No, John Fisher's the dead body, not him.
Yes, exactly.
Well, give me an afternoon and I can get you some new ID.
But I do have another place to go if necessary with my real name attached.
So what do you want your new fake name to be?
I just need to clean out some things from John Fisher's house. Some important things.
As an aside, when John Fisher turns from a human being to a giant wolf and then back, do the clothes change with, or do the
Yes, they
clothes
would.
rip off and then you're like Starkers when you come back to human form?
There's a complete change.
Say it one more time.
There's a complete change. The clothes go through.
Cool. So when you come back to human form, you're a human being who's impeccably dressed.
Yes.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
That works.
Well, and his hair is perfect.
It's all
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
all
by the
nano machines. You understand?
Did you get me a kilt, Donald?
Hmm?
Did you get me a kilt?
Oh yeah. At this point, when you turn back to yourself, you're wearing no shirt with like lots of gauze across your midsection and
kilt.
slightly bloody fatigues or khakis rather.
So I haven't got my kilt.
Oh, right. No, I didn't get a chance to mention it while it was all going on. While they were doing all of their stuff and patching him up, I was calling up the concierge and reading the labels off the old shirt. Just get a new shirt delivered.
That's very considerate. So in theory, you've got a new set of clothes waiting back at the
Well,
hotel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
That's one of the things I'm getting from the house is clothes. Oh yes, and what comes out of the house will be bagpipes. And yes, a full set of and a kilt with
Okay.
um,
Boy, that one would have backfired. I sure dodged that bullet.
So
Hey, gotta get the
Charlotte Day and John Fisher or Alyn Brennan go back to John Fisher's house to pick up some things, while John Morgan and Mark Savage go back to the hotel. Is this correct?
Yes, and return the rental car.
Yep.
Okay. When you
I
get
do want to make one detour. I want to travel from London to New York. Go back to my apartment, pick up some more stuff that's there, and then take it back through the gate.
Yeah, that seems totally reasonable to me.
you have a Stargate?
Well, it's not technically ours. We just happen to use it.
Yeah, just follow the yellow brick road.
Or the trees.
Just stay away from the Kawush.
Yeah, have you ever noticed that there's a stairway to heaven and a highway to hell?
Yes, I've noticed.
Kind of says something about the expected traffic patterns, don't it?
That's funny.
Yes, if I think that's feasible within the next couple of hours, Brandon, I will do that.
That's totally feasible.
Okay.
When you get there, where is it? Oh, here we go. When you get to the Agartha or the labyrinth, this is what it looks like this time.
Oh, it changes its appearance.
Ooh, different this time.
I like it.
Okay.
Oh, that's kind of good.
Kind of got a Monsters Inc. MC Escher vibe.
Yes, actually, that is an apt description. Very much so. Yeah. So you and John Morgan head back to New York via the stair, and you get to New York, and it opens in the same. Where did it open in New York? I don't remember where it opened last time.
I don't know. Think if we actually went to New York last time.
It didn't.
I thought.
Okay.
I thought we hit New York one of those times when we were opening and shutting doors.
Well, it all went by so fast. So here's what happens: when you get to New York, and when you get to the stair, and you want to go to New York, you kind of have a feel for where you need to go on the stair to get to the door.
Right.
It is like a steel fire door with a bar that you push, that kind of door, like an emergency exit kind of a door, and you're in the basement or possibly loading dock of some building, maybe a warehouse. There's lots and lots of boxes on pallets wrapped up with shrink wrap, and there's a guy driving a forklift past you, and over there's a loading dock, and then you're in an alleyway with, well, calling it an alleyway makes it sound small. It's not. It's like 30 feet wide, and
Right.
there's big semis backed up to the loading dock. But it's a big paved area between two enormous brick buildings.
New York.
So, and oddly enough, as you exit, there are guys in dark suits with conspicuous bulges under one arm and sunglasses, and they're smoking, and they are clearly on guard. But just as you come out, a cat runs down the alleyway, and they look away from you at the cat. And then they talk about, oh man, that looks just like my ex-girlfriend's cat. And they start chatting about that.
Oh, so this stair
Works.
protects you when you exit it. in some way.
We will creep quietly away.
You creep quietly away, and you get quietly away, and you get back to your apartment. And let's see, what do you have at the apartment? Anybody like waiting to kill you there? Let me think.
I don't know. However, I'll check to make sure first.
Oh, Gesundheit. There is a sticker on your apartment door saying that a package was attempted to be delivered, but you weren't home. So they will try again 2 more times.
All right, check and make sure there's nobody laying in wait for me inside my apartment.
There's nobody laying in wait.
Okay. Then basically get back into my apartment, gather up some stuff that I need, and lock the place up again and head back out.
You're not gonna
Okay.
track that package to see where it came from or whatever?
Was I expecting anything, Brandon?
No.
Is the note dated today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay, so it's conceivable they could make another delivery attempt today.
It's conceivable.
No, I'm not going to wait. My paranoia will be just tagged.
Yeah.
Come.
You could always put it transfer into some random place. Or, if it's actually something useful.
General delivery, Wimbledon.
We'll pick up at
Anyway, you pick up whatever you need. You ignore your
Yes.
mail and your. Do you check your mail? Your mailbox?
Oh, the regular mail, yeah.
It is stuffed with stuff. It's about half junk mail to various aliases, and
Okay.
then normal bills like phone and water and whatever the hell else.
Pay those before you come back.
I do all that online.
Place anymore.
I don't know why they keep sending me these damn things.
Yeah, it's all automated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Like a good quarter of it is stuff that's not an actual bill. It's a statement.
Yeah.
From something you pay automatically.
Online.
Yeah.
Like it actually
Why?
got paid directly from your bank account 3 days ago or a week ago. And
I was
this is the
going to
statement.
say it's the statement to let him know that his wireless billing information is online and ready for him.
This is so. Oh, and there's at least 2 offers for either credit cards or internet service for someone who lived in this apartment 10 years ago.
Great, apply for a card in their name.
At some school forms.
I'll just hand those to Mark.
We've lived in our house almost 6 years. We still get like past due statements on bills from the person who owned the house before the person who sold it to us.
I'm getting in this new house. I'm getting 3 people's worth of mail.
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
I'm getting at least 4, if not like 6. This one's worse than my last place.
Okay,
I'm
so
getting stuff from the school.
so you pick up the important stuff. You decide to just shrug off the package, and you head back to where? London?
Yes.
Yeah.
On the way back, it also looks like a stair, which is the only time it's looked the same way twice in a row so far.
Yeah. That is interesting.
Meanwhile, Charlotte Day and wait, what the hell? Alyn Brennan. Alyn Brennan go to John Fisher's house, which is a little standalone house in a suburb. It's an extremely boring, normal suburb. Everybody's got postage stamp size yards, tiny little like 3-bedroom house. They're
2.5.
what?
I think we need to drive past it first.
Oh yeah,
I said 2.5 children.
Hey, you drive past it slowly. Parked on the street in front or nearby, there is a cable repair van. There is a plumber van. There is a
There's one group that just doesn't give a shit, so it's just an unmarked white van.
there's a moving van, and there's just a blank white van. They're just parked in various positions within, say, 50 feet of the house.
Okay. Right.
The entire place has the aura about it of an unsprung bear trap.
And they're not expecting a wolf.
or somebody who can not only astral project, but just like throw their body somewhere else. So
Perfectly ordinary.
I'd be so tempted to screw with them at this point.
It's
Oh, yes.
completely ordinary. I don't know why you're acting like it's strange.
Worst case, I'll go inside
Okay.
the hard way.
Break in through the back window. Make it obvious. See what they do.
I was just going to disappear from this car and reappear.
Oh, are you gonna teleport?
I can teleport.
Yes, you can. You can take.
All right, give me a list of what you want.
Well, you can take him with you if you want.
Oh, hey, there we go. Hey, all right, park somewhere nearby. That make sure we're not being tailed first, because we're gonna play the disappearing act the hard way.
All right. I know a place to park.
You have no idea what she's talking about, but she seems to be confident.
I know a place to park.
Apparently, you might throw up after this, but we'll see how it works.
All right.
I'm with Lloyd. Good thing we're not there. I'd be letting all the air out of their tires and.
Oh, you mean you wouldn't go with me? Womp. Okay, let's go. Yeah, let's go.
I'd be like crawling under their vans, cutting their brake lines,
Oh yeah, that was like
letting all the air out of their tires.
And they may be ordinary people, but whatever.
get his stuff and then play tricks on him from them.
Let's just go get the stuff, and then we'll think about whether we should do anything about the difference.
Okay.
Well, I'm not there. I went to New York.
Yes. All right. So let us park.
Mm-hmm. I know the
In a situation like this, what you do is you put on a pair of black pants and a black shirt and a black ski mask, and you break in through one of the front windows so that all 4 vans can see you.
Okay, so I should break in. I should teleport in and then break back out.
That would be beautiful, yes.
Open the door and leave.
Well, then you'd have. Well, I don't
Oh
want to say.
no! You teleport in, get all the stuff. Charlotte teleports out with all the stuff, and then the big black wolf just jumps out a window and runs away. Just out of nowhere, like comes out the cellar door or something.
We'll put belt collar on so they'll think like, oh crap, the dog got loose. Really dead dog.
I like it.
I'm sure as a werewolf, just so you can pull crap like that, you've got like a dog collar that fits, just so you can wander around.
I'm a little big for a dog, but just beside the point.
So you had a special order the collar. Come on.
Yeah,
Go to an S&M shop. They've got them that size.
I was gonna say, compared to a mastiff, a wolf's neck is thin.
Yes, exactly. Everybody's just gonna be like, what the hell dog is that? People are stupid.
Oh no, it's England. They've got Irish wolfhounds and Norwegian elk hounds and
Exactly.
really, really huge animals.
Just gotta be wearing a collar, no one messes with you.
So what are you doing?
All right, teleporting. Shall I?
Hang on, I gotta tell you what you gotta roll.
Alright.
Teleporting an individual across town. Teleporting a group across town, or an entire. Okay, you need a 10 for just
Okay.
you and Alyn Brennan. You need a 10.
I rolled an 11. That makes that 15.
Zowie, where in the house do you want to be?
Where? Okay. Away from a window.
Okay,
The basement, for all I care.
Alan. Do houses in England have basements?
Or attics.
Cellars.
Cellars.
Do
Some
they?
of them-
Sure, why not? Alyn Brennan, make a resisting throwing up roll, whatever you think is most appropriate.
I rolled an 8.
8 is all you needed. So you are extremely nauseous. Like
It feels like you left your stomach behind.
it's like you're stopping yourself from throwing up, and you
That's
succeed,
great.
but you
Yeah.
really wanted to.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
are in
that
your
felt
cellar.
like the first time I changed.
What?
That felt like the first time I ever changed.
Yeah, you get okay. Apparently, you get used. If you can get used to that one thing, you can get used to the other. All right. All right, let's.
All right. Computer, some clothing, some bank statements of accounts that they
So
don't
you
know about.
wait. Let's back up just a little bit. You're in the basement. You go up to the main floor.
Well, let's listen first.
You don't hear
I
anything.
can
Okay.
check it first.
You can.
Yeah, that please.
You need to spend a weird point for that because that's extraordinary.
Okay. Might as well.
You need to roll because it's easy. You're literally downstairs, but so it won't make you roll. But it does cost a weird point.
Alright.
Okay, you drift out of your body and you look around, and there's a guy sitting in the living room. He's just sitting there. He's sitting patiently, like he's waiting for somebody. There's no one else in the house. You go upstairs, you look in the bedrooms. You go the main floor. Let's say it's 2 stories. Main floor, nobody around. The curtains.
Is it Eddie?
The curtains. No, it's not Eddie. The curtains are drawn in the bedroom where the guy is sitting. I mean, in the living room where the guy's sitting. The curtains are drawn. about half of the curtains in the place are drawn. Like the kitchen curtains are open, one bedroom's curtains are open, bathroom curtains are open, but so it's like half and half throughout the house. But in the living room where the guy's sitting, curtains are drawn, and the stairway up from the cellar to the kitchen, there is an area where you can actually see the window from that spot through the kitchen, but you don't see anybody outside, right outside that window. And there's like a fence, and then there's like another house on the other side of the fence. So you don't think you're being spied on from that direction. And then if you turn to your right as you come up the stairs, there's a living room, which is a fairly normal, kind of boring living room. And that's where a guy is sitting on the couch waiting. He would see you most definitely if you came upstairs. There is a pistol on his lap in his hand. It is not a huge pistol, but it has like a really long barrel.
Okay. All right. Head back down and like,
Guns.
nice house. Especially the guy sitting on the couch with the gun, big gun. Nice accessory.
Bad we don't have one of those guns from the lizard men. We could stand underneath approximately where the couch is. And...
Do you have
That's funny.
any of the? Do you have any cache of firearms in your?
Should I roll on that?
No. You totally do.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
But it's all upstairs. It's
But
like
you know it. Oh, I was gonna say in the cellar. Have even just one gun in the cellar because you know exactly where he is. You just walk to under the chair and pull the trigger.
that's what she just said. No, you have an elaborate cache of firearms, but they're all upstairs. Well, because normally if somebody's gonna like sneak up on you, you'd probably be in bed at the time, so that makes sense.
What do I have downstairs? Anything I could find that's useful? I
In cellar?
MacGyver.
Well,
Yeah.
there's, let's say you got some plastic explosive or something, but no like
under your poncho.
no firearms. No.
But that was too loud. You
Oh,
don't-
well, if you attach it to the underside of the floor right below the couch, boom.
It's just one guy. How
Yeah.
how scary could he be? You're a
He's got a
freaking
werewolf.
werewolf.
Just open the door. Just open the door for me when I'm changed.
No problem.
I haven't ripped something's throat out yet, and somebody deserves to have their throat ripped out.
But you might want to find out why he's here.
Well, that's true, but okay.
Go with the flow. That's all I say. Go for it.
I think I know why he's here, because he's got a gun in his lap. It's obvious.
Oh, like
Oh.
you wouldn't.
We'll keep the next guy alive to question then.
Yes. Okay, I change.
I creep up to the door, and I open it while standing behind it, so I'm not in the way.
The change roll would have been 13.
Oh no, you don't need to roll for that.
Okay, fine.
It's just if you do something extraordinary that a human being could not possibly ever do, that's when you need to spend a weird point. And
Okay,
if you
great.
need to do something that takes effort or that has some risk of failure, that's when you need to roll.
Okay, so I
So
change.
just changing into a great big wolf. I mean, it's impressive, but it's doesn't actually do anything. So you can just do that for free.
So she opens the door. I charge.
Okay, he sits there calmly as you charge up to him. He doesn't even aim his gun at you. He just looks at you calmly.
And John's gonna land in his lap.
Okay, you put a paw on either side on your couch, and your head is literally like this big around. And he looks up and he says to you, Captain Fisher, a pleasure to meet you. Oh, and he looks like this. I didn't tell you. I didn't show you this. Hang on. No, not that one. I had a better one. There you go. This guy. And he looks up at you like completely deadpan, like, you know, it's the most ordinary thing in the world. And he says, Captain Fisher, a pleasure to meet you.
I'll change back and still with my hands on either side of him and tell me why I shouldn't kill you.
Well, it'd be rude for one thing.
Why? You are probably responsible for the death of my people.
What would I have to do with that? I don't know. If I had anything to do with that, you'd be dead.
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh, well, that's just
Who are
rude.
you? What do you want?
I have a professional interest in your case. It's good fortune for us both that I wasn't assigned to this project. Joubert, although his name is not French, his accent is not French. His accent is like weirdly European English. Like maybe he's German or Swiss, then learned English from someone who lives in England. So he's got an English accented German accent, which is
With a French name.
with a French name. Yes.
Intrigued.
Oh,
He's from.
my name
He's
is.
from.
I'm not going to mention. I'm not going to mention the doctor, by the way. I'm going to.
Well, that's fine.
Belgium.
Yeah.
Joubert.
Or Swiss. Possibly Frisian.
All right.
Joubert.
Straight to police.
My name is Joubert. And no, I wasn't assigned to your case at all. I just thought it was curious that they would turn on you like that, and I was wondering if you would make your way back here. Since
Yes,
your body
but I
wasn't
need to
found.
close this part of my life down.
Ah, I think that would be wise.
Now, what do you want before I kick you out?
Well, you've already told me the bulk of what I wanted, which was how you survived, which is your extraordinary ability.
Oh, I'm also a very good soldier.
Well, that's without question.
Now, what do you want?
No. As I told you, I was simply curious. And
Very well.
again, so that we're clear, the people I work for don't know that I'm here, don't know that you're here. If they did, things would be going somewhat differently. And one of us would be very unhappy.
I'm
Briefly.
sure. Maybe both of us.
I think you're probably right.
Now,
But being the case that they don't know that I'm here, or that you're here, and unless they ask me, they won't. I thought it might be in my best interest to make your acquaintance.
well, you have. Now,
So,
bye.
if you don't mind, I'd like to wait a bit before I leave.
Why?
There are people watching your house. At least 3 different separate organizations, as far as I can tell.
I kind of noticed when I arrived.
Well, of course. So, he goes to stand and then he stops. He says, "May I stand?"
Yes.
He stands up. And says, "Well, it's very rare that I'm surprised, Captain.
I've noticed.
You have surprised me. That reflects very well upon you. I hope our paths cross again. In a
Better way, yes.
no. In a way no less antagonistic than this.
All right. I think
wish you
if
luck.
If you head back towards the left bedroom, I believe if you crawl out that window, you should be safe. There's a large tree and several bushes.
I saw this coming in. I think you're probably right. Very well. I wish you luck wherever you're going. And
Thank you.
whoever your friend in the basement is, wish them well too. He tips his hat a little bit and he walks toward the back left bedroom.
Yes, there's probably a big. There is. He has an escape route probably that he's grown in several bushes, a tall tree. He can climb out the window without being seen and follow the bushes to a place. And yeah,
With your keen wolf hearing, you can hear a window open and you can hear somebody, like what sounds like somebody crawling through a window.
yeah, good. Interesting. I'll go and get Dr. Day, and we'll
Yeah.
start.
Oh no! As soon as I hear him leave the room, I mean, come on, I can't imagine the cellar being completely soundproof to the living
No.
room.
Yeah,
Even though we tried.
yeah. I am going to want a couple of my best pieces, weapon-wise.
Sure.
Yep.
A couple changes of clothes. My computer, most assuredly.
Yes. Anything electronic, yes.
Anything electronic, yeah. I probably have the books for a couple bank accounts that are not under John Fisher's name.
Naturally.
And I'm going to get those. And I'm going to get my bagpipes.
Awesome!
and my full regimental kilt.
Of course.
So,
We'll see what we can get.
you leave the house with like 2 large green duffel bags, basically, full of
We'll see, if this,
swag.
we'll see if this trip's less nauseous than the first.
I hope so.
Roll again. And spend another point. Weird point.
Yeah, I'll go take a nap when we're done.
Yes.
I rolled an 8.
Total?
Total?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. You do show up inside of a vehicle, but it's not the vehicle you're aiming for.
Uh-oh.
So there's like a and Alyn Brennan, make a resisting being nauseous and vomiting roll, but this time you need a higher roll because she failed. So you need a 14
And I did it.
total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't want anything to it, actually.
You appear. Here's what happens. You appear to be inside of a small van of some kind, and there's a bench on one side and a bench on the other side, and there's 3 guys in black like military commando gear on this side, and there's 3 guys in black military gear on that side, and then Alyn vomits and is like just like
Okay, how many vomit in response? Seriously, at least 1 out of 5.
Just make sure that when you stop, look up, look him dead in the eye, and say, "And there's more where that came from."
And I think you need to get us out of here quickly. I don't care where.
There are 6 of them. Let's see. Wow, you're right. The one right next to Alyn, like goes. Unfortunately, this guy has like a full face mask, so like vomit like sprays a little bit out the side of his mask. He's like, he's like choking on it, and his eyes are like, ah. So that's that could have gone better.
Do I have enough time to grab him and try again?
We're gonna say, since they weren't expecting the 2 of you to simply appear in front of them, that you get like a free action. Well, Alyn doesn't, but Charlotte does. You get a free action while they are like scrambling for guns and/or trying not to throw up. So, what do you do, Charlotte?
Is 10 a better roll?
What do you? I think you needed 12 actually, but let me double check. No. You needed 10. An entire group a few meters. So, yeah. Charlotte like casts another spell, and then you disappear. Alyn, make a resisting throwing up roll.
It's so much
Get a little worse this time, because there's nothing left to throw up.
What do you get?
Roll a resist dry heaves roll.
What do I have to roll?
2d6 plus whatever aspect you think would help you not vomit.
Being a werewolf, what do you think would help?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I'm thinking that the only thing that would work would be the fact that I'm a werewolf.
Okay, fine. 2d6 plus whatever.
That would make it a 10 total.
All right, you are dry heaving for like the next 10 minutes. So,
Me and my bags are out of the van, and we can get out of here.
you're in the rental car.
Yeah, let's not move for a while because they're going to recover and come looking. So,
Yeah, just
this place is well hidden. So,
Yep.
You just stay in the car and like duck down.
Duck down, yeah.
Okay, Charlotte, You're like looking at the mirrors because they're all behind you, right? You look in the mirrors. You see like 3 different vans open up, and guys in like gung ho gear all get out, and they're like looking around. They spread out. They start combing the neighborhood. Meanwhile, in the passenger seat, Alyn is going "Ah! Ah!" like that, which is
So fucking
really
down.
just no fun.
And you see one guy stagger out one of the vans, like.
There's a guy just like leaning up a van and just like bleh. Anyway, so this goes on for a while. They don't find you because you're significantly down the street. Things kind of calm down, and you think it's safe to leave.
Okay, good. I think I'll drive.
I think you'll drive. Too bad I didn't think about bringing some of the plastic explosives from in the basement.
You can always go back.
No, thank you.
Right.
Not today. I already used 3 out of 4 doing this.
I think we'll skip that. Thank you.
All right. So
No,
you meet up back with.
Go back with John Morgan and Mark Savage in tow and really give them a rough time about it.
You meet up back in the hotel, I guess. Right. Right. There you go.
Give him a chance to go clean up.
The MI13 guy, who you guys know as John Fisher, comes in with like 2 different green a duffel bag on each shoulder full of stuff, some of which is fun and deadly, and some of which is just for entertainment, like a bag.
All the way back there for 2 bags of puke.
No, that's just what happens when you go for a ride with me.
Oh, okay.
I told him it was going to be the hard way.
Yeah. Obviously it was.
You learn to get used to it.
Well, I eventually got used to the change, so I suppose I will.
Well, hopefully you don't have to do that too often.
Yes.
I do it often enough.
If you don't mind, I need to check on something.
You probably need to change your clothes and take a shower.
Well, I'll change my clothes, yes, but I want to check on my stuff.
Well, if you're going to take a shower, please wrap. Here's a roll of Saran wrap to wrap around that.
Mhm.
I'd actually recommend
Oh,
sponge bathing.
that's actually all healed.
Oh.
Like you because being a doctor and having an ordinary concern for your patient, you take a look at because you've been through some extraordinary things the last couple of hours, right?
Mm.
Take a look at the stitches you did. No, they are healed up completely, which is impossible. But
All right. Pull out the little curved scissors and pull them out. Beep, 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 beep.
yeah, there's like little threads poking out of the skin, but the actual cut is completely healed up.
This is gonna sting just a little bit. Ding, 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 ding.
I
Yes.
suppose your unique skills have something to do with that.
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll be out shortly.
So what are you doing?
Showering.
Oh, okay.
Probably, throwing the other clothes in to get washed and putting on some of the clothes I probably brought out of the house. And then I'm going to check on my bagpipes to see if they're okay.
They're in fine condition.
Good.
I don't know if you can tell if bagpipes are tuned, but if you can, they are.
They sound more like a calico than a tabby.
Then I'll check on my guns.
They are also in fine condition.
Being an expert on hot peppers, yeah. To an untrained mouth, they all taste ghastly and horrible, but for somebody who's actually had a discerning palate.
Fair enough. Anything else going on? Or are you just in a...
That reminds me, Kieran, do you want a jar of pickled jalapenos?
Sure.
Okay. Diana pickled the big set of jalapenos that Kava got.
Yeah, we'll see if having them, pickled non-commercially gives me the same effect.
Okay, cool.
So
Back to the
Lloyd?
game, sorry.
So Brandon, set up a fake ID for the good captain.
I
Okay.
already have an ID. The Fisher was a fake ID.
Not one. Another fake ID never hurts.
Oh, that's true.
I probably should have one.
I currently have 7.
I've only felt the need to have 2.
I seem to have gotten pretty well known. But I don't really, but you know.
Okay. Now what?
Yes, we'll set up another one.
So what
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of guns do you have?
Yeah, by the way, yes, I'm a Templar. That's hence the medical exam. They gave me bag of swag.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I noticed those binoculars. Those were nice.
Yeah. And I'm supposedly, and my task is to hang out with you guys. Isn't that awesome?
How interesting.
Oh, nice. How often do you report in?
They didn't actually say, I guess, when we do stupid stuff like, oh, hey! Did I remember to actually tell them about the last thing we did?
We've only been back
Your
for
next
an
report's
hour
gonna
or so.
Fun one.
No. Did she tell them about
I'm
the
sure I
whales?
The lizard aliens.
Yeah, the lizard aliens. That was
Oh.
on my list of things to do when I got there.
No, you haven't told them about that yet.
Like I said, your next report's going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
See, lizard aliens, apocalyptic cultists.
Yeah, but I told them that you guys would have guessed that I was going to be, you know, that if I joined the Templars, I'm hanging out with you guys, there's going to be certain implications. You know, reports, stuff. Yeah. But whatever. Hey, I get to hang. I'm being paid to hang out with you guys. How about that?
Besides, as long as you let us write our own reports, everything's fine.
Well, yeah, I'm probably going to say the same thing what you were going to say anyway. So yeah.
Dr. Day, if you don't report this, I can tell you I do have a house under Alyn's name in Wales.
Well, I'm not going to tell.
If we wish to have a place to base or hide out.
Yeah. There we go. So, yeah, you didn't tell me where that was.
Not yet, I haven't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I became a Templar. Doesn't mean I'm going to totally, set up my friends. I'm sure they're not going to appreciate that, but they want to know what's going on, as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure there's here, hand Mark, John the bag. Here, this bugged.
Oh, go through it. See what kind of cool stuff is in there.
Yeah, it's nice. Hey, check out this bag of swag. Check out the bag of swag.
There's a cell phone, which is whatever the standard is in Europe. It's not one of the 3 standards they use in the U.S. Well, one of them is.
It's a GSM.
There you go, GSM. It's the one they use in Europe. There's a cell phone that uses that, and then there's a satellite phone, but you have to be outside where a satellite can actually see you to use that. Then there is a tablet, which is just a regular 10-inch tablet, and nothing special about that at all, actually. And what else I have? Oh, the binoculars, which are 30 times optical zoom and 60 times digital zoom.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. And what else is there? Oh, did you give them your purse, or the purse that they gave you?
The purse that they gave me, yeah.
Yeah, there is a small billfold style purse. It has membership cards in her name for a dozen different various clubs and organizations that are global, most of them.
Wait.
And a credit card.
Mm.
Yeah.
American Express, oddly enough.
All right.
I only get to use this in so many places.
Look at that. That one's very exclusive. Look at you.
Yeah, but
I'm sure given a little bit of time, we can fabricate our own variants of this.
I'm sure we can.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Take pictures of all the cards.
Okay.
Oops. Oh well.
But
We
thanks
really
for
are
having-
dangerous together.
I know. My main concern was, is this purse bugged? But it's probably not.
Oh, do you check to see if it's bugged or something?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, of course it is.
Oops.
I'd given it to her. I'd have bugged it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are, let me count,
How many?
5. There are 5 separate tracking devices. There are 2 in the little billfold purse thing, one on each side, like in the seams, and in the purse itself, there are 3. There's 1 in the strap, and then there's 2 in the main part of the purse.
What kind are they? Like tracking locators or sound or cameras or anything like that?
No, there's no sound or cameras. They're all just location.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's an easy solution. They're all in the bag and the billfold, and they're burgundy. They're not black. I'm gonna switch this sucker out. Anyways, let's leave it in the stairwell, shall we?
Oh, I've got a better idea. If I feel safe about going back to my old place, we can put them in each of those vans.
Oh, that's even more fun. Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'm beginning to have a bad influence on you.
I was gonna say leave it. No, honey. I'm from New York. I know. No. I was gonna say let's leave it in the stairwell. You guys, yeah. You know what I mean. The stairwell
Oh yeah.
in between.
No. I like bugging the vans with.
Oh yeah, that yeah. Hey, you guys
I'm
gonna have to,
in
I'm gonna have to
favor of-
take a nap before we do that, though. I already feel a little tired from that the first excursion. Dragging around his butt apparently is a bit of a drain.
Well, unfortunately, I am carrying around a couple duffel bags with some heavy stuff in it. Oh, which reminds me, you said, let me make sure I get the right person here. Let's see. John, you did say you had a gun, but you left it in New York. Would you like another one?
No, I brought mine. I went and got it.
Would you like a gun, Mark?
What kind?
I generally don't use them. I prefer to punch my way through things.
I'll pull out 2 really nice weapons and put them in front of John. Really nice weapons.
Okay, I might grab one of those.
Wait, are you calling yourself to them? Are you still calling yourself John, or are you calling yourself Alyn now?
I'm calling him John. I'm calling Lloyd John. I said I put him in front of John. I mean,
Yeah, he's
But
still
when they
calling
refer to you, what are they saying now?
Alan.
himself
Alyn. Okay.
Alan.
All the guns that Alyn pulls out are all various, like, the biggest one is technically a rifle, but it's an extremely compact, high-powered rifle
That's mine.
with like a fold-out stock. And then the smallest one is larger quite a bit than a pistol, but it's like some submachine gun type thing. And the cheapest, if you were to buy them on the street, well, in America, where we're all from, except for Alyn, if you were to buy them, $2,000 minimum. And two of the 5 of them would require like a federal license to buy because they're fully automatic.
Guns aren't my style, and those are awfully big.
Yeah, I'll stick with my revolver.
Okay. And you
I
want
haven't needed it yet. But thanks. It's good to know the resources available.
Especially here in the UK, where I thought guns were like,
I'm military.
Besides, it's a whole lot more fun to just insert the bullets manually.
Man.
Well, in my case, it's
You
a lot more
guys.
fun to claw, bite, but once in a while we acquire firearms.
Brennan, it's 10:30. When do you want to break up?
I think we're at a good stopping point if people are cool with that.
Yeah.
Are we
Yep,
cool
yep.
with that? All right. Well, this went better than I expected.
This is awesomely fun. Awesomely fun.
Well, let's hope we keep that up. This is the
Can you
12th.
give me your email address? because I'm going to have to send it from AOL.
Can you see the chatty thing over to the left?
How do I open it up?
I
Click
don't
the
know.
little thing that looks like a chatty
Oh,
thing.
here, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
I got
that's my email address. Do you see it?
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Put it up again because it
Oh no, just click on it. It says show message.
Show messages.
Oh, okay. I was in the wrong thing then. That was the wrong thing. Okay, come on. There we are. My computer's. There we go. Show messages. Show messages. There we are. Ah, okay. Thank you.
You good?
Yeah, I got it.
Outstanding. And if not, Donald can help you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, not this weekend. Finally got the engines going, so the boat actually goes out on big water for the first time.
How exciting!
So no roller coasters, boat.
Oh, but you are going to roller coaster in another couple weeks, I hope.
Yeah, in another couple of weeks, just not this weekend.
Not this weekend. Okay.
Okay.
I'm pretty much trying every weekend unless something major comes up, and so far that's been the past 3 weekends, but still trying.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all good?
Yep.
We're all good.
Are we good to go? Okay.
This is a lot of fun.
I'm glad you had fun. I had fun too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Different. Crazy. Weird. Role play.
Why is it not doing anything? I'm clicking and oh, come on. Not responding. I'll try one more time. Here we go.
Brennan.
Here we go. Ha ha! This has been Conspiracy Theory with Donald Von Griffin, Karen Torres, Leslie Danneberger, Lloyd Montgomery, and me, the GM, Brandon Blackmore. Never trust a man who appears in your living room with a gun. Have a good night. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Or the guys who appear growing up in your van.
Always have a light lunch before you teleport. Very important.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.